and he's going to lose that fight 9 times out of 10 if he doesn't make the peaks. So very good play there by Polarized. A great play here by AV just to continue to look as he's rotating it around. You see a lot of people just, you know, moving on through. Big 60 actually did go down there in the elimination feed, so that is very key to know. Big 60 had a very good last game, and this game not looking too good today. We'll see what Ad's going to do. Shots going to come through the 64 dink, and you see immediately, and instead of pushing that, he's decided that he's going to completely disengage.
Yeah, putting some stopping power down and then moving on, trying to see if he can find a better battle. This is going to be one that he can't give up, though. I'm sorry to say it, but when you hit 2 or 3 of those consecutive headshots, you got to go for it. Beautiful cone control right there as he takes that one. He cuts his opponent off, being 1 step ahead of the stretch, stretching him out across the layers right here. And now Controller AV is on top and has a plenty of extra tarp to work with now, because it looks like the stretch was stretching out a nice little base there. So all that work for nothing as he gets taken out the game. Now we're back to the center of the map, just moving ever so north now. Remember, AV is up this track. He's kind of on his way here. Jared's will have visuals on this side of the playing field now. The heavy sniper's out. He's looking back on that zone. The question is, will he find AV right here? As they are now crossing paths there. Take a look.
So the guy switched that controller.
I expected this to happen here. AV was trying to go for prime time real estate, trying to get to the good parts of the city now. Showing you guys what is on the line here today. Jared has to play very aggressive here. I mean, he's at 34 points, but he needs more. Only finishing with a 195th place yesterday. There's a lot on the line for him. We call it the door opener. This time it'll be the problem solver for Jared's here. He's going to take that problem out of the equation there. Well played. And now he's going to retreat back to his homely base up here. He's got a lot of spoils to go back to if he ever so chooses. But still, with threats in the area, I think it's good on him to kind of dial it back for a second here. Bounce back in a little bit, Clay.
I agree. That was the quickest disengage I've ever seen in competitive Fortnite. My man got the elimination and said, you know what? No, I'm out. I'm getting back into my base. I'm good. I need a point. That's it. 4 more points added to the total. As we move over to someone we wanted to see today, Scope. How he was doing and how he was maintaining his dominance today. You see 65 points already. 1 elimination this game. And he set himself up for success. Early rotation into the middle zone. Really maxing out his loadout as well. Scoped is looking really good in this game.
I feel like Scoped has matured as a player just over the course of the last 3 or 4 weeks or so. Remember, before the solo season kind of kicked off officially, there was nothing but elite scrims, solo scrims happening, and Scoped was struggling with finding his identity in the mid-game, finding his kind of cool, his temperament to stop jumping in players' boxes and tossing his games. These last couple of performances from him, it seems like something is clicking. The gears are turning, and he is just putting things together for himself now, because the way he's leading the competition right now has been absolutely incredible.
Just chilling.
The question is, can he keep it up? Can he continue to hold his temperament and not really throw his games? He has the power to jump in boxes, right? Follow up with those shots, but it's end game. It's positioning that he's been lackluster in, at least prior to the FNCS solos. Now I'm seeing why there's a lot of fans rooting for him, as he's trying to break away, like I said, build that identity as a solo player, his own individual player, apart from his counter duo, Tfue. But here's Knight in the zone right now, 3rd zone, dangerous, so dangerous to be rotating around. You really think about it. Look at all the bases that are set up here, Clay. This is Death Valley that he's in right now, because if just one wrong mistake, he can get focused. But oh my gosh, he's actually going to initiate a battle down here. He doesn't care. The shots are going to connect now. Clay, he's jumping in the box.
He's in the box already. You said it was the elimination valley there, but it wasn't for him. It was for everybody else around him, really hopping on that opportunity to push his advantage and try to get this elimination. You see immediate disengage because he realizes, okay, I got my tags. I don't need to go too aggressive here. I don't know exactly where he was, so I'm not going to push it that much. Casker already back up to a relatively good amount of HP as well, as you do see Nico there alive. I want to point out that the Scope never won a game yesterday, but his consistency and top place finishes were allowing him to be 2 points ahead of Nico yesterday. We'll see who's able to pull out a victory royale here today. But hopping over here to Sparak, who does have the mythic drum gun in his inventory. That is going to be the point for him. That is what's going to win him the game if he chooses to, if he tries to win this game, right? I mean, we're all trying to win the game, but if he's all revolving around that, his gameplay is going to be mythic drum gun, mythic drum gun, mythic drum gun.
People who have the drum gun, they've been pushing
definitely
people like
is
crazy.
looking kind of crazy right now. I mean, I think we kicked this game off
like
with Void, who had controlled the agency after taking down Sway. Now, seeing that Spirock has the drum gun, we can only assume that Void was swiped clean from this lobby here. So now Spirock, he's got all the momentum he needs. He's got loot that he didn't land for, but he sure definitely earned himself in this lobby. I mean, look at, he's sitting on an additional big pot. He's sitting on quite the catacomb of builds here, as you can see. And it's also at Salty Springs, so it all makes sense. The story's all kind of piecing together here. He found the elimination close by, and this is why he has such a massive base, great loot, and extra loot to kind of feed off of. Let's see, though. The zone's going to cut just outside, moving west halfway through the major city here. Spirock's going to have to get out of here. I saw other players, 2XC, Polarized, big players in the lobby right now, still in the game. Players that are clawing their way up the leaderboards right now, some of which have to make some desperate pushes and desperate attempts. We'll see, though. Spirock's trying to make his decision here, trying to time this rotation. Figure it out. Look at the map, guys. Focus down on that bottom right. Take a look at that map. There are so many players on the eastern side. That's the congested zone. The more you wait, the more likely it is for players to set up and hold you out. You move too early, though, you become the focus.
Like that person right there, you see everyone focusing him on in the lobby. Sparak getting involved there with a drum gun. And this is his play. Use the drum gun. There's Jared's going down, and we were just talking about what he needed to do to win. And unfortunately, not playing to their strengths, as now Sparak is going to drop his AR completely and just focus on the drum gun, and that shows the strength of it there, but he got caught trying to be a loot goblin. Someone in his tarp, he's getting down to 20 HP, getting shot from everything. He's trying to get out of these builds. They're not his, but he's panicking just a little bit now, finding a little spot where he can maybe make something happen, but Aiden gonna take him down, and Super Rock did not play to his strength there.
Just loot goblin.
Got caught being too greedy, too much loot. He suddenly felt the need to bring it all with him, and that's gonna take him out. My gosh, there's so much gear right there, so much floppers. I think that I counted out, including the ones that Aiden had coming in. That might have been like 8, 10, or 12 floppers, something around the sort.
Loadout as well.
Because I know there were some spares laying around. My gosh, we'll see if we see that Aiden make it through the end game now. Here's AV though, someone who was in Weeping Woods, like we said. He took out the stretch just on the river bend there, and he's been coasting ever since. That was a big refresher for him. He's already spent 500 materials since the last time we tuned in, and he's still dwindling down some here. You got to think that he's feeling A-OK right now. Picks up another elimination. There is some loot there. This is where the harpoon will come in big handy now. Trying to decide if it's worth jumping for. He's inching out, making his way towards it, pressuring opponents, trying to take control of the field here. If he can jump down and grab this, he might. Jumps down one more layer, not giving up too much though. Is being very much cautious here. Remember, but if he gives up this high ground, then he gives up the potential to recycle a launch pad. This half in, half out's already revealed itself. He's going for the mid-ground fight right now. It's Clicks who's backing up. It's 2X who's on the other side of the wall too, just listening in ever so closely.
It's crazy.
Take a look at Funk, Arab, Casker, and many others who are at the half in, half out already safe.
And speaking of others, Knight there as well. Good disengage, though. You don't want to fight Clicks in the box fights. That's probably the one player in the whole lobby you really don't want to fight in those box fights. You know he's got that prowess there. Knight, on the other hand, looking to get some long-range beams here with his AR. He did 75th yesterday with 97 points. We'll see how he turns that into a better day today. Again, 37 points, not that bad, but really needing to push it up. We saw about 190-ish points. And EU gonna need a little bit more. He's about 90 points off that top 80, so hopefully he's able to get something going, like right there with that beam shot coming through. This player launch padding, and Arab unfortunately going down there tonight.
Down goes
a little bit of a misplay from Arab's perspective. See if he can turn it around in his next couple games, though.
I love this. Remember, these pro players know other pro players. You drop Arab, everyone knows Arab lands at the Shark. Of course, you're going to W key for the loot. He went over there and snatched up that Sky's Assault Rifle, the grappler, so quick. And that's what doing your homework does for you right there. Knowing the lobby, knowing your competitors, knowing your competition. Forget that. Just knowing that Arab is a key player to get taken out in this game. And now for Knight, he's setting himself up for success right now. I'm listening to a heavy sniper being clocked, though, readied up around him. He's got to be careful. I don't see him pulling out his mats. Return to that. Okay, it's Kaz and Casker who are close by, one of which has something big. Casker actually jumps in the base up above. Those are the shots we're hearing. So he is using that heavy sniper. You can hear the shotgun shots happening. Knight kind of scrambled in the mix here. He's like, all right, skates on out of here. He's got the grappler. Good time rotate. He's safe now.
Coney on the floor.
He is safe in that box spin. Gonna take down Void there with an elimination. You do see Knight using that grappler very effectively. Arab, one of the few players that uses the grappler, I think, to its maximum potential on high ground, using it to just really control those matches. We'll see if Knight decides to play for it, or if he decides to play low to mid ground, as he's going to take down Scope. That's a huge elimination in the lobby.
Big Elam there, Clay. I mean, he's still going. He's got the rotates to make. He's using his grappler to its benefit. Jumping through boxes, shoots out of that one. And look at this. These guys are just doing all the hard work for him, making all the layers he needs. That one shot he put on Cass was going to convert into an elimination as he falls in the storm there. And now Knight has high ground. He's cut off the competition as well. He's leading the rotate out here. Still has some way to go, though, to safety. It's not completely clear just yet, but this game is looking like it is his as he finds Vix there on the backline rotating.
What a good play to look back. He realizes flopper plays can come through, launch pads can come through. No grapplers, obviously, as he's got it, but still got to worry about that as you hear launch pads raining all around, players flying down. He's trying to figure out where players are. Shots going through, not connecting, and a little bit connecting here for him, but you see him all of a sudden just jump off high ground there. It looks like he's trying to go somewhere else, loses a lot of HP, so he fell. Someone's going to land in his box. Shot's not going to connect on them, in a very good field for high ground here from Knight, but it's all to Wood. He's got to be careful about that as we see more shots coming through here for him. Grandma going to get an elimination as Class going to go down there to okay, as Knight does maintain the high ground after a little bit of a fall.
Yeah, in such a situation,
that was a close one.
Focusing on high ground is
having a player jump in his box. Got to be careful. Good use from Knight now, connecting back to the builds here. Deciding here, he wants to put down the pressure. There's players in the air, though. Shots to be made. Hits the land. It's Avery who falls now. Or it's actually Danny, excuse me. He's just racking up elims, racking up big names after big names. He finds another one here. It's Grandma, a 30, who was in top 10, somewhere around the sorts, playing out of his mind early on in the game, the competition today. Let's see what Knight can do here. He's continuing to pressure the lobby here. You know, it's the shots he's putting down right now just doesn't give anyone an opportunity, a chance to even get close to him. They can't even look up here, Clay. He's not giving them the opportunity.
He's not giving the opportunity at all, and that's a very good point to make. Doing everything he needs to separate himself from the players down below, put as much distance there as he can. He doesn't want any chance of it going against him. As Zone is continuing to pull against him, you see already pre-tarping out, looking at the backside of Zone. Player's going to be in a bad spot to get tagged up just like that. Knight looking to get the last 3 remaining eliminations, already on 6 here. We'll see if he's going to start to drop down or work his way down. He's decided to stay ultimate high ground. We'll see if these players down below start to fight, and then Knight gets involved. He still's got the grappler, so in case he loses it, he can make a play back for it in that final moments. As TJ going to take down Storm. Just Twoxy going to go down. Knight is going to start to drop down. TJ going to be the last remaining player here. Knight and TJ. Twoxy going down moments ago. We'll see if TJ going to be able to make anything happen, but the effective HP advantage looking way too good here for Knight. This is just the last little bit they need to put in. I think the builds have run out there for TJ on the low ground. Knight going back in the zone. He's got flopper shots going through. Does deal a lot of damage, but takes enough himself. I think this is going to be it. I think that's going to be the last shot, and it is. TJ going down. Knight with an 8 elimination victory royale.
Played it well, realized he had the floppers as well, and just used it to his benefit. That sidestep was so clean and well played. He had a lot of kind of options to make plays with right there, and he flexed them. He flexed a few of them. He pulled a couple cards out. Eventually, ultimately, he made it all work. Good victory royale.
You'll love to see it, gentlemen. That was an incredible game. Massive congratulations there to Knight taking down none other than TJ. TJ was actually 6th yesterday with 152 points. So you see a lot of these guys because Knight himself was, I believe, right now. 75th place with 97 points yesterday, looking to aim for that #1 spot, trying to hold down top 80. Massive props tonight, though. I loved his play in that last game. There was a lot of things that he did very, very well. A lot of heads-up plays. For example, kind of when he did get his hands on that grappler, which I love that you called out, because the moment he saw Arab drop it, he was like, I need that. But when grappling through that mid-ground tarp, like, most players want to use the grappler and go high. He just used it to go straight to where it is he needed to go. Very quickly, we'll take a look at the standings. Frosty right now. Now, keep in mind, cumulative points here. 494 points with 3 victorials to their name.
That's Brazil.
I'm sorry, this is for Brazil here. Excuse me, I misspoke there, guys. Great there, though. Techno Viking, King, Sheko, all very familiar names there, Monster.
Definitely some big names here. Remember, there's multiple kings in this region, too. So to see SNG King up top, that's really nice. That's a new kind of come up for him here. You got to give respect, though, for the eliminations on first place Frosty. There was the 79 elims on the gap here. Take a look at your second page, guys. You see players like Moljak, Bulga coming up on top there. Players that we recognize. Majin Buu in 25th. I see Clipnote up top. Leleo. These are favorites for Brazil, kind of coming in, doing very well for themselves. These are grand finalists kind of in the making here.
In the making, indeed. And good to point out that Leleo is up there, one of my favorite Brazilian players. Seeing him perform is really, really good. You do see Tome over there, who was an NA West player, going down to Brazil to play, doing very well. 45th place, nothing to scoff at, still in that top 80. Dracon's there from C9, qualifying as well. Again, these are not finals, so there's some tiebreakers to go through, so but in 59th place should be good to go. You see Tino, Luku there, Lord, and this is your final page. Paid and Vincenzo right below 177 points. So a little bit lower of the threshold for that top 80, but still 170, 180. That's what we're looking at here for NA East.
I just wonder for all the analysts out there, what does that mean? 177 point threshold. Does that mean that the competition was a little tougher? Does that mean the players at the top are breaking away with it? I don't know. My brain can't wrap my mind around it, but there's got to be something kind of correlating there for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen that number kind of fluctuate, right? Like 163 was one of the regions, I believe, saying earlier, as Clay, unfortunately, DC's there. We love you. Please come back soon. Yeah, but Monster, kind of going back to that game, I just kind of want to talk more about Knight a little bit. Just kidding. Can't do that either, because we're getting ready to get into games, Monster. So we're going to send it in. Good luck, and we'll have Clay back to you in just a second.
Let's go.
It's all right. We'll take this one away right here.
Clay, it is face.
It's all good. I'm a veteran. I got this. We're jumping in. It's NA East. It's day 2. A lot on the lines right now. We're jumping in with Straw Hat Charlie. I actually love this name. It's a little One Piece reference right there for those anime fans out there. You got to appreciate players going out, putting their own little personality into their username here. So, man, looks like we are back with Sweaty Sands for some early games right now. We're going to take our time with this, as Straw Hat Charlie has to be very cautious here. I'm seeing 4 potential enemy threats right now, not including players that are going to rotate in, not including players that are going to cut through from the outside of the storm factors here, as they just barely catch the zone right now. So it's a pretty decent start, though. He's going to kick things off with a nice little mini here. He's got a shotgun and a pretty much full loadout here. Take a look at the enemies in this location with him. It's Evasion, Stony, Purrs, and Teke. All fierce competitors. All have a lot kind of riding on the line right now. Charlie, 235th place yesterday. 42 points on day 1. He's got kind of a big mountain to climb right now. Can he overcome all the pressure right now and make it happen? Okay, doing very well right now, putting the good pressure in. The burst, so underrated in early game.
Just do it on him.
This is bringing me back to FNCS Duos days. We jumped into kind of that early game burst action. Players would go toe-to-toe.
Action.
Here's Stony now on the other perspective. Can he kind of drop Straw Hat? No, he's not. He's not going to be able to. Straw Hat Charlie here makes another one.
Push.
It's sink or swim.
Yeah, I'm not saying that.
As we all know,
Just chill.
can't get in the water, not if you're part of the Straw Hat team. So Charlie doing very well. Can he wipe up the entire sweaty? No way. He knows there's another opponent up there. The cone was the giveaway. I will try not to make too many One Piece references. I could probably go crazy with it there, but here's Furious now. We're jumping over to the other side.
Furious bat.
Some slurpfish being found in the water here. It's pretty good. It's going to set him up for success now. He is definitely having more to fish out. He's got a chest here to kind of rely upon as well.
Oh, yes.
We'll give him a little moment to kind of bounce back here.
Oof. There's a guy
I think Clay is just about ready to reconnect soon.
They're going to shoot him.
I am back as shots are coming through. Furious all of a sudden was not expecting that, the ambush coming through. Shots gonna go through, but Furious said, no, I'm not gonna play defensive. I'm gonna get in your face and brutal.
Bro.
Not expecting that, gonna get eliminated there. And Furious doing just what we saw him do in day number 1. A little bit on a rampage outside of Lazy Lake. We'll see how he turns it into a better performance in the end game here today. 86 points though, already on a good spree. We'll see as we move over to Bully as he's fighting Adonis. The shots going through. Bully losing a lot of damage, but Adonis taking a lot himself. Came into the fight about 150 effective HP, but now at a 90, 100 effective HP disadvantage there. Bully now going to be able to heal up. Should be good to go. 48 builds is concerning. He doesn't have an AR as well, so he can't put that pressure down. He does have that SMG, though, which we all know is very powerful up close. He can get that damage off very quickly. We'll see what he's going to be able to do. Playing that low ground warrior style that we all know and some people don't like, some people love. I know Monster loves that low ground style to take advantage of the angles and the peaks that you can. We'll see what Bully's going to be able to do. Is it seems like Adonis just continuing to build up and up and up.
And it's right. It's all about reaction speed when you're down low. You try to bait players into your world, have them come down into your territory. See what he can do. Bully is using this on a patient mind game right now. He's trying to take out Adonis, who's sitting up above so poetically as well. The Greek goddess himself here. Let's see, Adonis kind of vibing right now. He's looking for the opportunity, looking for the shot. He's going to jump down. Bully's going to turn things around now. But can he connect? He misses the big shot. He does find a little bit here, and no, it's not going to be enough for Adonis. He gets overtaken. Bully is the one who comes out on top, and now there's another player, another enemy enters into the arena. ZQ is looking for the action right now. Bully's going to find the quick ramp at it. Take a look here as we go back in time just a second now. Give you guys all the action so you can see how good he is here.
Ooh, nice shot there over the top. A little peekaboo shot coming through as the player going on the offensive. But ZDQW going down. Bully making plays when he needs to the most. I'm talking about how he was 162nd, day number 1, 67 points. So really needs to push the aggression here today to get towards that top. You can't play too passively, otherwise you're going to start to fall back down the bottom of the leaderboard as we move over. It has the great rotating out of what looks like that the shadow base up top, the weather station there does have that heavy sniper. So he did in fact go up there. Such a phenomenal weapon to open so many things, start so many engagements, end so many engagements as well. But what's concerning here about Monster is his ammo count.
Yeah, he's not looking too good here. He's got effective 40 extra ammunition to kind of reload his AR with. Not too much, and the heavy sniper as well to kind of back himself up. But it's okay. He does have a momentum kind of swinging type loadout here. That heavy sniper being able to open up any box here. There was an enemy inside that farmhouse right there, by the way. He kind of hopped past, if I'm not mistaken. I thought I saw a silhouette in there. It's not going to matter, though, as he sees the first piece of moving player now. It's a pixel in front of him. He goes for the heavy sniper. It's not going to connect. But the AR is going to find its home here now. And the pressure is on. The push is on. He ramps up and over. And that player is going to roll over and kind of admit, give up, submit the low ground here. Heavy sniper is ready. The ramp boost is ready, but he takes the wall instead. Oof. And I love that. That was like a clean little fake out right there. Puts the ramp behind him.
Loadout.
Making that player think he's just going to jump in, but instead he takes the wall in the process.
Very good fake out indeed. Wow. Your opponent gets in that mindset, okay, he's ramp boosting in. I got to edit out. but has like, nah, we're just gonna sit here. We're gonna do a normal wall take the ramp as well. Very, very smart from Haz as we move over to Sully and Inspire, who are near Weeping Woods in a fight. Sully gonna be on the back foot there, and even more in the back foot with that pump shotgun as Inspire's in the box. Sully up and over the top, continuing to try to put the layers vertically between them, and now horizontally again, moving on up. This tree going to cause a lot of issues here for Inspire and Sully. This is going to be very hard to fight through. They've broken through. Wall trying to be taken. Nice play there by Inspire. Double edit coming through. Not going to be able to connect. The player didn't put the cone over the top.
Wow.
I think Inspire's going to be able to capitalize on that, but no, continuing to get out. This is a cat and mouse chase. Inspire finally going to get the shot that he needed. No, it wasn't enough. His shots continuing to be traded back and forth. Inspire, though, I think it's finally found him where he wants him. His edits coming through. This player trying to go over the top. Shots coming through. The SMG is hitting, but Inspire just not able to capitalize on the situation when he needs to the most.
Yeah, he's got to get this shot here. He is hunting him down, though. Even with the exchanges, still doing so well. Beautiful usage of the cone as well to take control right now. And, oh, man, as this fight drags on, you can see the material count slowly but surely trickling away, but it's all right. Sully's going to generate some extra mats as he goes down here. And there it is. All that just for a couple of points. And, I mean, hey, at least it was ended before any more damage was done to the resource count there. Inspire now has to bounce back into this game. So a little bit of metal here, though, so lucky for him. The hardest material to come across. He's going to be able to scavenge just a little bit from the woods here before he leaves now. Here's Bizzle, one of the more exciting veterans of big tournament names here. Bizzle, someone who we know struggled kind of, when it comes down to these open style lobbies, but as the competition gets stronger and stronger, as more and more greatness is piled into a lobby, Bizzle tends to shine. For some reason, he finds his stride all the time. As yesterday was his 19th place. Very, very respectable positioning. And oh my barely missed the headshot.
Goodness.
Early and
like he's
one of the few people we've seen take advantage of these silent snipers. We saw Wolfie's heavy snipe and then immediately switch into a silent sniper and get an elimination. We'll see if Bizzle's going to be able to hit this shot, tracking perfectly, but the tent going to be in the way, so Bizzle not going to be able to capitalize. But that player didn't really seem to notice where it came from, and that's the advantage that he's got to being silenced, and that's going to be a shield tag there for him. 100 damage is good, but it's not what he wants. Is a headshot narrowly missing as well. Bizzle, he may be in phase with the snipes, just not hitting for him today.
Hey, but Bizzle is well known to catch those mid-game peaks with this silent sniper. It's literally his playstyle. It's almost a preference choice pickup. It's this storm surge that he relies on when it comes down to those super stacked games, the ones that I'm referring to that he tends to shine somehow, some way, find his way up to the top, even if he's not in the discussion. Those are the plays that he can make with that heavy, or the silent sniper. Here's Inspire, though. We know, like we said, was needing to find something as that last fight kind of set him back a few steps than where he needed to be. Good shots right here. Hey, at least it's a 30 pop. If he can find another, get that shield popping indicator, he might just hop in here. I think the pressure from the other lobby is enough for him to just go all in. He's kind of, I can understand in a desperate situation, the need to kind of recap now so that he doesn't have to do it later. What better time to do it than before the lobby actually gets here? So whoever he is pressuring right now, I'm sure is wondering, why is this psycho pushing me right now? Spicy it is, who's on defense right here. And Berserker's jumping into the battle, getting from behind. This edit is fresh. The wall is weak, and he's breaking his way through right now. Spicy's on the run here, Clay. Can Inspire find this Elim? I think he is going to get it. There it is.
It's
the shotgun he needs.
It's important to play
now
like
he catches a big upgrade. My gosh.
Be able to chase people down in close
big
proximity.
Upgrade indeed. I almost thought for a moment he was going to pickaxe him there when he came out of that box. But able to find it. Innocence nearby, though. He's going to have to run away from that. Does not want to be involved in that fight. As we move over to see Bludge, who is running from the zone. Also want to point out Shark over there as well. Again, was in third place coming into today, but has not had the best performance. I mentioned it on the beginning of this. Right? A 16th place was his best performance. We'll see how it transitions here into this game. Obviously running from the zone. Bludge, though, does have two floppers in his inventory, so he's not too worried about the zone. It's only a one tick right now. But you see him constantly scanning, constantly looking. He's looking for any sort of shields like he's going to find there, albeit only one. that's going to be such a huge difference. When you get tagged and someone only tags you for 10 damage or 23 damage, it's going to be like, oh, they still got shields, I can't push. You see Null right in front of him as well. Budge, though, is going to have a hard time rotating in, as we saw a lot of congestion happening on this side of the zone.
Yeah, hard time rotating in, hard time qualifying. As yes, he is in the, you know, kind of the day 2 kind of stride of things right now, but man, he's behind. He's off to the wrong foot, especially considering he was just outside the 150 bubble yesterday. So not a terrible performance, but definitely not a great one to really propel him up. Not like Crims, the way Crims was able to close that gap, make up for lost time by taking that victory out very early into the competition, setting himself up for tracking here. But we'll see, though. Can Bludge make the big plays that he needs? Can he close the gap? Can he pull back just mentally as a player, as a pro player, as a top player? Let's see. He's going to pop this flopper out in the open now, kind of ghosting behind the builds here, deciding if he wants to take the fight. And yes, he finds Berserker. And now we know why Berserker was firing all those shots before. It was because he was desperate. He also needed a frag, just like Inspire did when Inspire found Spicy. So it's probably Spicy who's down here, as Blood is trying to pick up some loot. Let's see, is it Inspire? It is Inspire. Okay, so Inspire now, who's feeling it. 200 HP. He knows Blood just came out the zone. He also just kind of snatched up some desperate loot right there. Let's see. Blood kind of jumps around. It's the shotgun trade right now as things load up. The heavy sniper, the problem solver. And he's on the run now. Blood is on defense here. He did pop one of the floppers, though, so Inspire already knows he doesn't have any shield. The fall damage, oh my gosh. Almost taken out there. Clay, these are not his walls. This is not his territory to be playing in right now.
It's not, and yet again, he is in zone. He had to use a lot of his floppers already. We'll see if he's going to be able to get out of that. We'll keep our eye on the elimination feed. But 2 big Titans fighting right now are Zayt and Calc, as Calc is going on aggression. He's got Zayt on the back foot. Is the harpoon being used? Just break the walls and try to get in. Zayt going to know how to counter this. He just sits in his box. Shots coming through. Calc gets the not the best end of that trade, but he's continuing to keep it up. He already had Zayt weed, so he's overall in this fight effective as the stare comes through. Catches Zayt. That was such an effective. As the wall comes down, 200 pump. Calc gonna take out the veteran of Zayt.
Such a big shot right there as well. Good plays by Calc to kind of wait it out. The fact that he waited for Zayt to make the edits on that wall, the reset edit, means that the wall was weak. He took it. He threw the ramp in there. Sneaky, quick, calculated. Young Calc comes out with another 4 points right there, making quick work of Zayt. I'd assume he's taking his screenshots right now and loading up the tweets as he stopped moving for a second there, but we'll see. Here's back with Inspired Blood. This fight's been actually dragging on. For someone who didn't have shield, he is still making Inspire kind of pay for picking a battle with him. As Inspire now, I think, was also shield cracked here. So they're side by side, and yes, Blood comes in and gets the final say. And now he gets taken out as well, but hey, he pulls a couple points in the process. I mean, he may have tossed Inspire's game, but at least he gets something out of it. It was all worth it for him, just a little bit. And that's how that fight kind of ends right there.
As we swap over to look at Bully, Astonished, Nobu Beef, Evasion, and Yuz there, all on this side near that Slurpee Swamps bridge to the north side here. You see Bully could look for a heavy snipe here, could look for that beam with that rare AR in his inventory. We'll see what he's going to do. Again, Bully did have a decent day, 67 points day 1. He's about 97 points if the math adds up there. But, you know, needs about 100 points. Really needs about a really good pop-off game like you talked about with Crims. You said he was able to close the gap. Bully is falling behind. He needs to find a great game, and this could be it. He's in a good spot. Only thing I'm concerned about is that he is 2 minis, and he's already down 500 mats with that 97 build. A good early rotate. He's actually going to find the grapple player, going to beam out of the air, and Astonish going to go down, and that's the biggest elimination he could have found in the entire lobby. You see Inquest trying to go for a Bully, going to capitalize with a grappler, and that could be the moment that changes his entire day.
No, actually, Inquest grabs the grappler before him, and now Inquest is putting the pressure on as they both scrambled for the grappler as soon as it fell down. And now, all of a sudden, what looked like his breakaway moment for this solo game suddenly turned into a nightmare situation. All shields gone, extra material expended here. And all of a sudden, he's left by himself to fend for himself on this rotate. Bully now barely gets away with it. Enquez comes out with the free loot and the grappler. Here's Jack, one of the more exciting names, one of the more consistent players. We've talked a lot about him throughout the course of the last couple weeks here now. Player that's making big strides here in the recent times. Just up the top when you least expect it. Knows how to pull in the victory. Knows how to seal the deal. Doesn't let go of his leads when he catches them. And capitalize on all those moments that he gets. Let's see, though. This is his half in, half out here. Who's going to pull zone right now? It's going to pull to one of the least congested sides right now. Is that a... I think that is an airdrop landing right above the base of Mega here. Mega and Jack now playing for it. Jack, I believe, controls the wall in front of it. We'll see if he makes the edit here on Mega soon. No, he throws the 1C4. You saw it kind of break right there or something. Not too sure. Oh, it was the RPG. And that's what it was. He broke the layer down, and all of a sudden, Mega thought he was in for a sweet treat. Instead, it was a surprise shotgun from Jack.
A very heads-up play to realize, hey, you know what? I got this floor. Edit him down. Eliminate him. Really, really good to see. Also really good to see they changed his name back to Jock and not Qzhu or whatever it was, you know, all backwards letter there. So now we can read it and know who he is. So really good to see. We do see Young Cow getting an evasion and getting him eliminated. We move back over, though, to Furious, who, again, played very, very well in day number 1. We'll see how he ends up playing in day number 2. His shots are through 92 points already, so a very, very good day. And this day could be even better as Tifu is going to take down Young Cow.
An exciting little kind of turn of events there for Young Cow, because the big names are going toe-to-toe with one another. The heavy sniper's out, but Furious doesn't need it because he owns the wall right there. Good follow-up, good recognition of Vexifier being in the wrong spot from Furious. I chatted with some players, some viewers in Big 60 stream early, and they were talking about, hey, we're rooting for Big 60. We want to see Furious up there. These are players that are pulling through open tracks, making a name for themselves with fan bases out there that are on the come up. Let's see what Furious can do here. Furious is doing so well right now. Look at his points. 97 points in this competition right now, coming after a 106 from yesterday. Nearly, basically, solidifying his way to grand finals right now. And he's on it. You can tell he's feeling it. Just look at his form right now. He's looking for the fights here. He's not afraid. This is a position where most players would be afraid to fight right now on the 6th zone, having zone. He doesn't have to be, you know, looking for the battle here, but he's trying to set himself up for even more success. He just wants the points at this point. He has max materials, Clay.
He is doing this so well, and it's so refreshing to see this kind of aggression in the box side area. We see it sometimes happen, but mostly a passive play at this point. But he says, you know what, this zone, nah, that's not for me. I want to play aggressive during this, as we swap to see moving here from Seafood, 29 points, not having the best. Shark now on your screen there, 2 eliminations. He did, I think, just pick up one onto Ghoul, which is going to be why he's looking around for all that loot, but did not get a lot of it. Only 10 builds remaining here for him. He needs to find something, and he does have Flopper, so he can Flopper play it, but Flopper playing in 5th zone is very, very costly. This is just going to be so hard to find. Finds, luckily, a launch pad here for him. But what does he need to do to make this a success, Monster?
Needs more points. He's not on track, not even in the slightest to make it the grand finals, not unless he really pops off. And today, in its own, that Elam right there is going to make it so that he already has more points than yesterday. So we'll see if he can continue to find big strides and stay consistent here. As we tune in with 100 Thieves Cease now, who's on the front of the storm here. He's in the front lines now as the zone is going to pull back. Jack launch pads all the way across, only to find that he also now has to cross back as well. So can Cease get out the zone? I'm paying attention. He pops his flopper. Okay, so he's barely alive still. He is the last to rotate right now. We tune in with Roller up there in the top 3 right now. 62 points in this competition from where we're tuning in right now. 2 Elims, almost top 20. He's got the RPG. We know what the RPG can do. Can swing anything in your favor. Honestly, you can even find elimination, especially this late in the game. You just tuck it down into low ground. You might catch some players with their builds open, box fighting. Get some specials. Let's see now. Here, this is what I mean. You just find the spot, you find the nook, you try and stick it in there. Let's see, though. Roller's going to jump in. Oh, my gosh. Catches Bizzle off guard. Catches Smallzy as well, who's on the run here from the storm. Clay, this is getting serious, and this is why Bizzle's at the top right now.
It is indeed just getting very, very high stakes right now. We're getting towards the end of NA East. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction, whether that be your points, whether that be how it affects your mental. We see Nate Hill up there on the high ground. Furious on 5 eliminations. We'll see what he's going to do. He's actually going to drop the floppers. Does end up picking him back up. So almost a little bit of a misplay, but he does end up getting a nice beam there onto the player from behind. That player more likely going to go over to zone. They do end up going down. I don't think that was the player that he actually ended up tagging up, but someone else falling a top 10 scenario. Furious doing very, very well to try to take high ground here. He's just going to crank for it, and he gets it.
I mean, do you blame him with 400 metal? It's what you got to do here is he finds Nate Hill, who is just trying to play his game. He jumps down. He sees something mythical. He wants it, and it's the shotgun upgrade as well. Now he has a pump. Was it worth it, though? He's going to lose out on a lot of HP for that one right there. But it's okay, because 5 players are remaining. This could be Furious's game here. He's jumping down. There's a launch pad nearby. He doesn't care about a Straw Hat. Charlie's going to fall as well here. The heavy sniper's going to really crack things open for him, and he's just hip-firing away now. Attack down here. He knows there's a grapple shot, so someone's trying to take the height. But he's not willing to give it up so easily. He's going to crank right back up. And now we're in a top 3 situation. Furious, Roller, and Use, Clay.
Roller has been playing out of his mind today and yesterday combined. This man coming out of essentially nowhere to make these plays. RPG going through. That's going to be another elimination. Roller now with 6, dropping down from the high ground. Should get the pressure down. He does. A good damage trade there. Furious, effectively the same. Getting more damage, though, onto Roller. Furious with 7. Roller looking for number 6 or 7 there. Drops him with the RPG coming through. Furious with a nice bump, but he makes the wrong edit, and Roller is just going to steamroll him there, and that's going to be elimination number 7, and the victory royale there for him.
It's so big, the 7th elimination, and like we said, the placement points that you get from 2nd to 1st is kind of monumental. It's worth a few eliminations. That puts them on par for 2 great games from each of the 2. Regardless of what, well played to Roller right there. I mean, showing why he's in the top 4 right now.
Man, Assiduous is very, Roller is very assiduous in his end game tactics. Now, guys, what we need to do, let's take a look at the standings. This is where things are going to get crazy because we only have a handful of games left in NA East. Now, of course, Roller putting on an insane performance yesterday with a 4th place. And on the other side, though, Furious in 55th. So the question becomes, have they pushed into that top 80? Will they hold down that spot? For Roller, you got to assume yes. He was already starting off to a grand start. There you go. No surprise there. 273 points there. And 2 victory L's to his name.
Showing that he is the most unassailable player in the lobby right now. Cannot be budged or moved here. He's at the top with good point threshold lead as well. Over 30 points, 270 right now. Take a look at everyone else, though. These guys are doing so good for being midway in the competition. They're set up very nicely right here.
They are indeed. You see Scope, Bussy, Shark, TJ, Knight, Stratus down there, Stretch in 11th. Nico in 12th, Commandment moving down to 14th, Hoop, Bizzle, Doxy, a lot of names that everyone knows. We did see Bizzle go out a little bit early that last game, but still in that 80th threshold is where he wants to be, what the games want. And Bizzle, we know, is going to destroy those stacked lobbies. That's what Bizzle lives for. That's the kind of gameplay he loves to see. We'll see how he does if he makes it to Grand Finals.
Keep an eye out here, though. I see Miro, someone that I was keeping an eye on since last week. Always hefty with the eliminations. If he could just find his end games, if he could find his rotations, he is also on his way to Grand Finals. New names to keep an eye out for. Here's your players in the top 80. On the cusp, just on your last page. You got to root for him. You got Kanata, Roat, Blake, Kaz, Grandma, Weigel, Trashy Color, all very much veterans. I see Bryce up there. These are names that we know of, players, especially in the NA East region, we tend to grow fond of because of how active they are within our communities. This is so close right now, and there's going to be upsets. We saw it in EU. There was upsets, people that just barely did not make it. So we're going to see that here today. I got to prepare for it, man. It's getting closer and closer.
It is indeed. I'm going to point out, that was the lowest threshold we saw. It was about 124 points. This could get really, really interesting.
That's right, guys. With only 3 games left, who will be the top 80 pushing through to grand finals? When we come back after this break, we'll wrap up NA East and know who that will be. Stay tuned, Fortnite fam.
Now we got 5 minutes. Let's check. So what do you guys think I should be streaming next of my games? So I've been streaming the drug dealer, which I have been enjoying the most at the moment. You know, Fortnite's a regular game for everyone. I'm really thinking about doing the Resident Evil 3 remake. Or do you want to continue like Origins or Green Hell or Dawn of Men? Even start some Stranded Deep. I enjoy that game. I'll start gameplay for you guys. Guys, let me know. Okay, so guys, get your coffee ready. Golden Muslims, get your buka treats out. The leftovers, the parakats.
Oh, hello there, Fortnite fam. I didn't see you there. You're looking nice today. Welcome back to more coverage of the FNCS Invitational. This time, we got Shadow Wager, we got Sundown, and they'll be guiding us through the next 3 games. The final set here for NA East in week number 2. Gentlemen, you've been watching the games, you've been talking in Green Room. We gotta know your thoughts. Shy, let's start with you.
Controllers.
All right, Sundown, to you.
I know Shy was very succinct with his point there, but honestly, I'm a little tired of the sesquipedalic words that you guys have been throwing out. We're in the denouement of the penultimate event here in NA East, and really, I'd like it to give us this kind of serious tone that we really need to focus on as we watch all of these players just continue to jump into box over and over again. You know, they're doing a great job making sure they're holding down that RT and keeping the pressure on top of each other as we go through. It looks like I just made Zeke Big Brain rage quit the stream. No, there he goes. He's coming back over here now. But you can see, in all seriousness, we're getting down to the final ends here. We have about 45 minutes left in the queue, so these are going to be the final matches to determine who's really able to push up into that top 80 and kind of make a name for themselves. We've seen a number of players be able to carry over their success from day 1 to day 2, but it all comes down to these final moments.
I don't even know what to say to you right now. I'm so mad. I'm going to step away. You guys take us into the next game.
Hey, you've set the theme. You know what we're about to watch. It's going to be, hey, there it is. Some Spar Fishy Grawl RR. The last 2 letters going to be the operators at Lazy Lake here. With 10 people, Sundown, I'm not going to even ask what you're going to expect because we're already going to be seeing it. Close range box fights and all shots hitting.
Yeah, and everyone's just looking to run at each other right off of the start. As we talked about kind of these last games, with this many people over at Lazy Lake, we can assume a couple are going to go down. 11 already down across the board. You can see kind of each elimination being the 4 points, causing a lot of this aggression to go through. Additionally, though, placement points begin to be gifted out once you hit in the top 10. So if you're playing for placement, you're going to want to be playing for that late game. But as we've seen with NA East, like kind of once you get into that like top 30 or so, people don't really want to fight anymore. So it's kind of like aggressive bursts, and then everyone kind of just chills. So those placement points don't really come into effect until super late in the game. Generally, we're not seeing them till Circle 7, Circle 8 in most circumstances, as Sparebow does pick up Spicy. So just some straight vibing over there, but Sparfishy gets immediately put inside a cone. So now he's trapped inside a box, child.
Yeah, Rock in a very hard place right now with more people kind of just moving up above him. But that's kind of the point of when placements are just handed out so late, the aggression is just so much more tantalizing right now for people to just get in box-to-box goal for those free 4 points and try to get back down to that top 30 situation where points are right there. And Spar is flying high with a double tack shotgun before he hits the ground. That's 1. Can he find 2 is the question. Sundown right now looks like Lazy Lake is becoming hot and heated up.
Yeah, and we will have a number of people who are going to rotate back through here. Honestly, I've expected these fights to resolve a little bit quicker, but people are playing a little more defensively, a little more passively. And as I say that, he gets a nice little 1-2 combo, hits him with the jab of the pickaxe, and then Falter just came flying straight through. But, however, loses the edit on the wall. Looks like he was able to regain it back, gets through, and resets it real quick. So, nice little maneuverability there. However, not sure how much time that's really going to buy him. As I say, there's somebody else collapsing in on the backside of that fight. So there's 3 players all trapped right around here. You can see the outline just on the other side of the hat. So we get to watch their little caricatures on the Clix.
Yeah, they're battling it out hard as Spar just waits out 36 total builds, but he's not using a single one right now, while Clix and TFTI get into a big fight that actually doesn't have much of a say in total health pools. Maybe just a 50 shield shot on the TFTI. He moves back. Now Clix is on the walls of Spar, looking to get straight in. Controls his wall once again. Spar, though, gets it right back, and a big clap back, too, that he can't actually land. Clix is angry, and he wants to end all these fights, but he's caught between 2 different people. Finally, getting in the box, and he can't actually land. What happens afterwards with the spray? Spar somehow surviving, landing shot after shot. I've never seen an early game go down this way with these big players getting taken out so fast. He's still trying to survive just a little bit. Half these builds not even his. He's finally out of that jail cell of a basement, and he's moving forward to get into hopefully clearer territory.
And Sign's immediately going to come over and re-engage the player, so he should have enough space as we hop on over to Straw Hat Charlie, hanging out on the beach. Want to make sure you don't get too close to the water over there. You can see him just trying to pick up.
Because
Oh, because you don't watch anime?
I watch anime, but just not One Piece in general, you know. So I'm trying to.
So you have good taste in anime. Got it. Okay, understand.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'll agree with that one.
No, I'm kidding. I watch very little amount of anime, so I have absolutely 0% to judge on anything other than Fortnite action in most circumstances. And even then, some people question my qualifications. As Charlie immediately gets ramped over, tries to throw a cone over, but kind of gets stuck with that awkward metal ramp his opponent was able to throw in. Doesn't really actually have a floor either in there, so kind of interesting angles. Rocket is going to knock it down, and he's immediately going to retake the high ground. Drop in, gets a white tag too, so not really sure what this opposing player is doing. I think he might have rocketed himself there, but Charlie now just going to continue to play the aggressor. Gets edited into the box, still continuing to try and force phase his way in. Gets inside the cone, but not quite able to follow up. Double edits in. Just relentless, not giving him any chance, and there it goes. Finally taking down TK, but not after a decent expenditure of materials.
A lot of materials taken out right there, but at the same time, he gets a lot of good loot to be able to walk off with afterwards as well. We tune back in with Spar, who is not having an easy time whatsoever. Still trapped in the depths of Lazy Lake, and we never actually see such underground battles go down, and apparently there are no rules here whatsoever because he's been in a 2v1, a 1v1, no shields, less health. The odds stack the game time and time again. Sinez, though, is going to try to move around and see if he can even out the favors. Maybe not even fight Spar at this moment. Maybe just move on afterwards. But we know how things go down. He finds a random launch pad. Not sure if he was saving that for later. We all know how hungry people get for rotations towards the end of the night or the end of the game.
Did he actually leave it there?
I mean, that's really what it's all about, trying to maintain enough control that when you get in those late game scenarios, you're safe enough and covered enough to get to the next spot, because that's when typically you're going to end up facing the most threat in the most potential areas you need to cover. We talk about just how valuable tarping and being able to find a safe path is, and that's something that kind of gets easier the more experience you have working around kind of those stacked lobbies and knowing how to move around. But also it's easier when you have more tools at your disposal, when you have extra shields and you can take some shots, when you have the ability to spray down somebody's wall a little bit quicker than somebody else, so you have a launch pad and you can set up a short launch. But right now you have Sparfishy Growl RR trying to pull a Savage Classic, sprinting out of the cone, 160, and immediately follows it up with the spray from the ever so valuable blue SMG. He's going to sprint in the corner for a little bit to celebrate, but picks up all of that loot. Will also have a big pot to top himself up to 100, 100, and a nice little ambush coming out there. Might need to toss either a 100 Thieves or a Mister in his name somewhere, as Koi Fishy picks up Velocify there in a clean little 1v1.
You know?
Tuning in over at Weeping Woods, but Spar's still confused as to what just happened. X-ray bullets breaking the bones of that individual. He has none left to walk with, and now he's going to be taken out of Lazy Lake. Kurt Fishy, though, looking to get his second. A new pattern we're seeing in these games. Big third parties, but the people who are actually getting knocked down and done damage to first are the ones who are actually winning these fights. A huge kind of takeover in builds by Jackie. Now the king of Weeping Woods today. I want to just make that claim right now because this is the third game we're seeing him just take early game by storm, and no one can stop him. He's just getting this piece control into the box and leaving everyone behind in the dust.
Yeah, honestly, like, if he had lost that fight, I would have been impressed, but after eating the big pump shot, he was only one other shot away there, and he's going to need a solid day today. After scoring only 38 points yesterday, he's going to need to really push forward. As we see Scoped, oh boy, what a time to pull a med kit. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, Scoped? So right now, he's chilling out in the grotto. This is something you'll see a lot in grotto fights because players are desperately trying to kind of chase and find the siphon and do everything they can. But Scoped, out of the med kit with about, like literally 2 health left before he would have gotten ticked over by the storm, is able to find a med kit from an unlooted chest, which generally doesn't happen. So now he should definitely be at the advantage here. Has the Brutus minigun as well, and in this close quarter situation, we only know how that ends. Scope takes out Thresh and just absolutely rips him apart.
And he was so smart in that fight as well, blocking off the floor, which is what people immediately go for, that you actually can't see, especially when Bricksters are in play. He instinctively knew that Scope wanted to just escape, and they only had one kind of option. But Scope, at the end of the day, is the owner of that grotto. You say, how does he pull that chest medkit? It's because, you know, the spot knows him. It yearns for him, basically. And Thresh was just a mere visitor. He got kicked out. Even making the best plays ever, you can't really do much against Brutus's minigun raining down on your head, shot after shot after shot. Spar, though, once he's finally freed from his little bit of a cave held back by so many people in Lazy Lake, he'll try to traverse the map, use the anger he had built up possibly on other people at the moment right now as well. He has someone in his sights. The AR ready to shoot. It's a full blue loadout except for that mini, and he looks to upgrade it going forward. The launch pad is there too.
Yeah, and sitting on a decent amount of builds at 124, so not going to be too taxed in that regard. Is inside the circle now, but wants to head a little more centrally. Could also opt to walk into this bush. It always terrifies me too when players opt to do this. You have no clue that somebody's not opting to sit inside that bush right there. Like, you should at least have like checked it or maybe tossed a ramp inside of it. But with that being said, we see Rogue Shark up on the top here. Spar trying to get his crouch on and get a little sneaky snake in here. Get an angle.
Sneaky.
To potentially ambush an opponent and trying to use the bush to his advantage. This player still does not quite see him, and will he opt to take the shots? Dude.
What?
Please.
Oh, no way.
Bruh. Oh, thank you. My.
What the?
Dude, good job. Well executed on the elimination, but
Wait,
please don't ever hesitate
doing?
that long, ever. Particularly for
play
that, like,
Hey.
yeah, good
Looking
job.
down,
Picked
do
up Rogue
something.
Shark. Well done. Almost in the top 50, but
And it's a Rogue Shark on top of that, guys.
Hey, looks both sides while crossing the street right here, and better safe than sorry. He's putting everything he's learned in life to use in both the fights and his rotations. We go back to the agency as well, where Skyless and Okus are looking to, I'm not even sure, maybe hide out from each other, maybe engage. He's baiting out the vault right now, and oh my god, you can just see the POV of what the other player is going to try to just come through to, but no one's coming now. Okus picks up a few white heals and tries to move out towards the zone. But he might be just taking a little bit too much time because there are some more people rotating in. This could be a trap he set for himself.
honestly, if you're Okius and you hear all the people rotating through and you see there's a
yeah,
player
is it
directly
easy?
on the other side of you, this is going to be a really good ambush opportunity for him here. Should be able to clean this up because owns all the build in here. Can't build, obviously, where that vault door is. He's going to have the 3 medkits. He has all this additional heals. He
no,
can wait
can
as
chill
long as he
me
wants. This is only
forever.
a 1-tick zone until it turns over. Then it's a 2-tick. He has 2 bandage cannons in there, a full set of bandages, 3 medkits, and a stack of floppers. Like, he's chilling.
Like, what do you think in that situation?
And while he has a lot of
probably,
fish
like,
from the sea, we'll see
chill
Commandment
way
actually
for as
driving
long
across
as
the ocean
possible.
all the way to the rig. Getting some
Use the medkits and
free loot from the vault, basically, because you can't really camp out here too long, especially when you don't
the
have zone.
floppers, maybe?
And there's not too much loot for
I
one
just think
person to
it's two
basically take and
slots.
move on with. Meanwhile,
If you get a-
though,
you get a
in zone
stack,
is
you might
Slippery
as well
Swamp,
keep the
and
bando
Jackie
gun.
has moved over from Weeping to own real estate in 2 different POIs. Right
keep
now, the
the bando
highest
gun.
roller right now at the top spot of the builds
If
over
you
here at the
come
POI, but
chilling
there is
me
Roller as
for a
well,
long time.
who's in the mid ground looking. It's not end game yet, so it's not technically mid ground, but
Just
he's
look
in
on
the
the
middle
map.
of all these builds, just
How
waiting
much-
to see
how
exactly how
much
people
people's
rotate,
over
making
here.
sure his metal's all the way
It's
up
like
as well.
so much around.
Which is super important, particularly as you get into the late game, and if you're in Slippery Swamp, there is an excess of metal, so you should be doing exactly what Roller's doing here, trying to occupy as much space as possible with those metal builds, giving you an advantage to potentially pull off one of those quick little cone ambushes. And as you can see here, he's basically built out the entirety of the top level of the factory, so he'll have a great opportunity. However, unfortunately, does not pull that zone. As you see in the bottom right-hand corner, that white line indicating where the new safe zone will be, so in a minute, he will have to rotate on over there. And while he does have a launch pad, he's not going to want to use that quite yet. Generally, you want to save that either for the 50-50 if you pull a long rotation, or for that 6th zone. That's generally where you'll see most launch pads be used. So instead, just going to start the walk over. This general process, as you see Mikey doing, where hop 180 back, turn backwards, hop 180 back, turn backwards. Generally, you'll also see if controller players are the ones doing this, they'll have their builds out, because you get that building and editing sensitivity, so you'll turn a little faster, making that easier. With that being said, you'll see everyone trying to rotate in as early as possible and pack around that center because they know the 4th zone will pull centrally. It's only that 5th zone they'll have to worry about, as Mikey trades some shots there,
Like
but
really gonna think
doesn't
this
look like
guy
he
the
really wants
same.
any smoke. He's just going to build himself up a little bit with some quick little 90s.
But the Mikey.
He drops his base down while Sundown drops that knowledge. We'll see Spar once again beside him.
He's
This
again
time,
low HP.
low HP, all the way down to 28. His loadout looked so good when we last left off with him. He was playing safe and sound. Maybe he might have taken your advice and sped things up there. 40 points on day 1, 48 now. A total of about 88. He's going to need to get literally 100 points in about 2 to 3 games. Now, that is 2 very good games, but that requires you beating out the top competition in NA East at this point. And we saw him do really well early game, 5 eliminations so far. Can he get more as the likes of Nate Hill, Easy ROG, Mikey are around him, and Okus with that agency loot and momentum this game as well?
Yeah, I'm going to say no. 23 HP, you literally get hit by like a stray SMG bolt.
Oh. Okay.
Yep,
the prediction mastermind, the Oracle Sundown has spoken.
That was a really tough one. You know, I really pushed my analytical abilities to the limits there to determine that the guy with 23 HP running through the open wouldn't get picked off there. I just see Mikey using that harpoon gun. Gonna opt
What are you dropping at that
into
point?
the drum gun.
Oof.
Instead of that legendary burst rifle. Probably a good choice given the situation right now. Can actually probably use both during this circumstance as long as he's not like chosen here. He does need to be careful because he is isolated out in the middle. As we swing on over, we have Calc, Commodon, Niddle, Acorn, Roller, Avery, Justice. A who's who of a bunch of NAE's top players here.
You can't really guess who's going to pop off first. It's all about who gets that zone right now. It'll be Commandant and Calco have to move towards everyone else. Like Roller, I believe I saw Colazo there as well. Launchpad here available for him to use. Doesn't actually need to do it now. You talked about being chosen. That might happen if he chooses to greed for this walk, but he might have to because that Launchpad being used for moving zones is that much more important. Right now, Commandant is, I would say, 100% guaranteed to qual so far. He could get maybe outplaced by a bunch of people, but yeah. Alive this far, 68 points, 151 yesterday. It's all about looking at who he can push out right now, how much damage he can do to other people, at the same time, how much practice he can get, because these games are going to get a little bit more stacked before like all that W key madness starts to happen and people really push for the end of the day to get big points.
And I also think Commandment's the type of player who generally he takes pretty much every game relatively serious. He's not somebody who like really goes into the hard W key mentality or like, oh, this is a throwaway game. Like he's trying to generally play for late in almost every game I've seen him play. There's very few times, unless it's like a very calculated, hey, I'm playing in this game for 5 minutes, I'm trying to push. And even then there's sometimes he'll pick up a couple elims and he's like, no, I'll play this one out instead. But we have Calc pinned down in the corner here. And as you check the bottom right hand corner of the map, 45 players left going into what will be Circle 5 after this. Only 2 or 3 players aren't already inside that save circle. So odds are good. We might see Storm Surge crop up in this game, kind of going towards that 30 threshold coming in through here. But probably not a lot of action that's really going to be occurring as most people have rotated in. And one thing I do want to call out about this general spot, or one thing first, for Calc's points, 60 today, had 101 points yesterday. So still needs a decent performance or two to really guarantee himself to be in that top 80. And the other thing, we were talking about launchpads and their value. In Weeping Woods, launchpads actually become slightly less valuable because they're that much harder to execute on with the amount of trees and kind of the variable verticality that's going around. If you're short padding and you clip a tree, you will go nowhere. Like you will actually go nowhere and effectively like make yourself a worse position. So you almost are forced to full pad, which gives you the vulnerability of getting lasered, or you have to like very tightly execute a short pad, and then it's like that's really hard to do. I'm not sure every one of these players can confidently do that as we see the half in half out zone pull over the river.
Yeah, right now it'll be a waterfall game for a lot of people on this mountain. If they hit that no pad Sundown's talking about, or even a short, it will be the best thing to get to this position. They have to go over an entire mountain, so that full pad is also going to act as a short if they just clip the tip of the mountain. At the same time, there are a lot of people alive. It's 45, and a bunch of them aren't in zone. The ones who are kind of blocked off. You'll see it from Acorn's point of view. There's a huge hill in front of him where he doesn't have a say on. A bunch of the people trying to rotate in, and as I say that, the bridge is open. He finds 1 and 2. That's Jack that he takes out, his own duo mate. I don't want to be in that call right now because it might be getting really heated there. These are some of the last games of the competition. Acorn, obviously the better positioner of the two. Got the better luck of the draw this time on where his base is going to be. He's bullying Nico as well, really hot off the press on all these shots that he's taking. On the other side of things above him, though, people fighting for high ground. Nate Hill still trying to rotate in. Beef will look over to where he is. A heavy sniper in hand, trying to land shots, but if that misses, he opens up so many more doors with this purple burst AR, which we know can rattle boxes and bones all the same. He's trying to shoot, has some white tags, will reload that heavy. The combo shot again. He's still landing tags time and time again. We talked about Beef yesterday. He was playing so well in the end game. We're not even there yet, and he's just racking things up together. I was talking about Nate Hill trying to rotate in. Now I guess I don't have to talk about it anymore. He's been taken out of the competition, and Beef looks for even more.
And some really good picks here. I was about to say, it's unfortunate that none of these are actually resulting in eliminations because he's putting down a ton of damage, had the 64 into a double 32 tag with no elim, and then also back-to-back 30 tags, but then hits Nate Hill with that snipe, and the burst follow-up into the take the L. Had to assume the eye probably swapped onto him for a second there, so letting Nate know he had it a little bit there, which is relatively unfortunate because Nate had been clawing it back a little bit there after a tough day one. You can see Cease, AJ, Okis, and Calc all below Beef in the stack void, just off to the side of him. You also have Commandant, Niddle, Seam, Origins, Avery, Ghoul, Platinum Rates, and Assault all along the side too as well. As the 6th zone now gets revealed, this will probably be where you'll see some launch pads go out, but we talked about it. There's a tree literally right in the way here.
This is the second time we've seen Calc try to find these launch pads. This time, though, instead of trying to find them, uses his own as endgame breaks out. He actually does his best impression of a box diver, but doesn't actually connect with the next shots of his tactical shotgun. Unfortunately, now pushed over into his own base. Doesn't need a refresh yet. Tries to find a few beams. Misses a few shots there, too. Above Storm Surge, 8 people need to go down once the zone ends up clocking in. Calc now with 2 eliminations has to start to move all the way up on second height. No one's poking him just yet. He falls down to a lower mid-ground layer, still trying to move. His game plan is to try to get into boxes. If he can't, then delay with floppers, but he might not need to. Those are the 2 big shots onto Tilt, who gets taken out, and now Calc has a good base that someone else has made for him. He gets to now choose his story on where he wants to be.
And picked up a lot of hard mats there, going up to the 500 brick. Also has 500 wood as well. Decent amount of metal, but largely going to rely on the brick to kind of expand out. Did pull priority on the next zone as well, which means most of the lobby is going to have to rotate towards him. He's also going mostly back over old builds as well, so that's a huge benefit. He knows he's going to have pretty much a safe layer, but he also knows he has 8 floppers, so he's just going to chill out over here on the side and just kind of see when his moment to strike is, get a look at where high ground is, take some shots out from the side of the storm. He knows he still has plenty of time, still 6 more floppers. He'll be able to decide when he goes, when he commits, as we catch up a little bit there. He's still just playing around the outside, and honestly, at this point, I think he'd dip in and just save that other 4 stack. You know that you have the option to go back through. Big 107 on the replace, chase for a 33. Needs to hit one more tag here, still going forward with the attack, and he finds it. Scope gets taken down, can't put up with the pressure from young Calc, as we have our top 20 here in a really solid play from him.
Yeah, stepping through from a different dimension, all the way from the storm to catch Scope on his side that he was just trying to allocate mats not to, just to save for the rest of the game. But because of that, Calc sees an opening, clamps up top of it, and right below him is Sizlucky, who's also trying to be as economical as possible, found his own 1 elimination, now taking a little bit of damage. There are 2 floppers left in his inventory, but it's not going to use, or not going to choose to use these just yet, just because there are more siphonable eliminations available all around him. Still, though, 8 zone, 12 people left alive. One of the most stacked games we've seen today thus far on the NA East region as it winds down. Tiz is going to look around, and there's someone knocking on his box. He finds the first shot afterwards. It's Commandment that goes down, and now it's down to the top 10. This is where the real placement gets handed out, and Sizlucky is a part of it.
Yeah, and NA East, man, just going deep into each one of these circles. You see a lot of flopper gameplay going through, but Calc up on the high ground, Sizlucky just below it. Cease, Niddle, Bryce, Ved, and Fearful all on the low ground right now as we see players beginning to drop out in the storm and begin to drop like flies as Niddle picks up 2, 3 right there going on to Niddle. Sizlucky goes charging out in the storm, and instead he falls down to Calc as Calc gets Cease as well. Calc from the high ground. Can we clock it in? We can, as Niddle falls to the storm. Young Calc with 6 eliminations going through, and the victory royale well executed with that storm push from the side with the floppers in order to get the victory royale.
And that's the game that Calc needed. First day, he was 100 points in total. Yes, very good performance. Wanted to push his way all the way to the top 80 qualification. Now he's 100 points on today as well overall, past 200 into that qual range, right beside Commandment, everyone else too. He had to take out Scope to do it at one point, and he was all the way at the top. So we'll see exactly how the standings look overall later on. But a good game from Calc, holding height, staying healthy the entire time, Zeke.
And this is actually someone that you called out as, you know, someone that you're hoping to see pop off in a lot of games. Shai, if I remember correctly, you had said that Calc is one of those players that wants to do well, and he feels as though after making it to something like World Cup, like he wants to show the world that he's still relevant. And this is exactly that.
I mean, yeah, it's not even just being relevant, but being able to change and adapt to different metas and still be on top and do it in, you know, flashy fashion. Everyone knows Calc. He always wants people to know that he beat them time and time again, and he always wants to do it with a big type of, you know, gap in between. Right there, an RPG on height, having the most shield and health possible while everyone else is getting taken down by Storm. That's a Calc game if I've ever seen one, and that's just him being on top.
Now, Sundown, I'm scared to ask you questions. Okay.
Oh, I'll use words you can understand, Zeke. Ready?
Thank you. Just dumb them down a lot for me.
Did good. High ground, rocket, low ground. Good job, Calc.
Man, that was
Did you get
incredible.
That one?
I got it. I got it.
No, but in all seriousness, the 8 floppers from the side, it was a really good and patient take. The way he kind of like was able to. The typical what you see from most people when they have that many floppers is they'll drop themselves back and just kind of like hang out and wait, but he made sure to actually go off at a different angle so then everyone else on height would be exposed to him. And even though he wasn't able to really get anybody eliminated right off the bat, it gave him enough time to go and execute the high ground take. And as we've seen, Prodigy Analytics brings it up all the time, but in solos from like 7th circle onward, if you're the one with high ground control, you win like 40% of games, which doesn't sound that super impressive, but in reality is actually statistically a really high amount. So good on Calc to execute that.
And kind of what do you think runs through players' minds? Like, at what point do you deviate and say, like, I know the Storm is moving like this. I have to create this opportunity for myself if I hope to pull off something magical here. Like, what does that look like?
I mean, like, in total, when it comes to flopper playing, when it comes to making decisions on the fly, it's all about instincts here, Zeke. And these players at the top of their game, they have the best ones.
That's right. Well, we'll see if the players have the instincts to get through this next game. Gentlemen, let's take it in for the next game of NA East.
And we're on board right away with Scoped, putting the uncommon SMG to work. Just ripping through Illis right there. Oh, not Illis, I apologize. It was Bludge that picked up Illis, but... Actually, no, he didn't get an Elim at all. What? Heard the Elim sound come through. Never mind, I apologize. Just missed whatever was going on there. But Scoped is sitting at 46 HP there. Does have a decent amount of control around Lazy Lake. There is a number of players dropping around there, and he actually looks like he's just going to rotate around out the side. I
mean, before... it was all about watching his back. That's what happened in the game that we just saw him with. Right now, he's keeping everyone in front of him, which is very smart because we know exactly how lethal his shot can be, especially when he lands the first tack shot. Operating with a purple one this early could just be unfair to the competition right now. Scope's tracking is all right afterwards. Never misses a shot.
And I mean, if anything, I'm more worried about that blue SMG than I am about that tack right now, right off of the start. If he's able to get onto somebody with no shields in that regard in the close fight, he's just going to roll right through him, as we've seen Roller do many a times. And he's sprinting straight over at this pocket as we have Stretch picks up Subscript right away. Seam immediately ramps up on the high ground. Roller, seeing another third party come in on his third party, is like, maybe I'll reevaluate this decision real quick. Goes and tucks himself into the staircase, tries to get some additional materials, considering he only has 27 builds right now.
Yeah, we've seen patience before. Sometimes it's better to wait, but waiting can delve you straight into a trap right now. Stretch is the one, actually, who slightly gets in maybe a little bit too fast. Roller taking him out. I think he was supposed to get eliminated there, but Stretch just missed an easy, I think, pickup shot. It happens. Still, he might have just 1 or 2 more games to go before the day ends, so getting at least 1 elimination, blocking things off, and then coming right back. I believe he might have got some placement off of that game as well. Roller will still get to see the entire Misty Meadows play out. He's looking to see if Seam is going to still be above him, or if he can bring him down to his own level and then beat him with the tack shotgun SMG combination.
which is relatively strong given the circumstances. Again, we've seen just like how much work the SMGs can do in close range, but then also, unfortunate for Stretch, they're missing a couple quick shots. Interesting decision to not opt into going with the blue pump there over the green tack, considering he does have the SMG to swap to. You'd think that would be the normal combination, but opting to stick with the 2 higher rate of fire weapons. We've seen Roller pretty much almost exclusively roll with the tack shotgun. I actually don't think I've seen him pick up a pump pretty much the entire time unless he had the option. Again, opting to swap into that gray SMG and just rolling right through Seam. Just didn't even stand a chance there, as he is able to now upgrade his loadout into that Epic Burst and the Epic Rocket Launcher, just from a nice little hold forward.
I mean, you're right. Why even use the tack if that's what you can do with the SMG? And at the same time, the tack usually is preferred for people who like that SMG gameplay because it stays online longer through mistakes. When you miss a pump shot, you have such a long time in between to shoot again with the tack. Yeah, you might just clip someone with half the pellets. You can just rock back straight again. We saw Scope do it once. And right now, Trashy will not be there with either weapon. He has the pump and the AR. Looking to play a little bit more of a traditional long-range fight with big shots in between. He's risking it right now. A lot of the fights we're seeing, especially this late into the game, into the day, are going to be close-range box fights. And Trashy will not be equipped for those at this moment.
Really interesting decision. I thought he was going to go in with the Harpoon there and harpoon that wall and then try and follow up with the AR, but instead waiting to let the wood full build so he wouldn't be able to break it, and now just kind of off on the side here now, trying to apply pressure, but he needs to be careful. Nobody else is around, but between Seabass and L2 Kitty, he's not really tracking either one of them super effectively. So if one of them decides to get a drop on him, he could be in trouble. Now going forward with that Harpoon gun, using it to destroy the walls, hits a 72 tag onto Seabass, I believe, and yes, it is able to clean it up. No, that was L2 Kitty on the low side, so Seabass still hanging out over there as well, but a nice little refresher coming out from Trashy, and he finds that Seabass was the lower health player. Really good job finding him through that ramp there. And again, I know, so one thing that you might see a lot of in the broadcast that you might not see in regular Fortnite with your playing is what appears to be players being shot through ramps or through walls. This is something that competitive Fortnite players will do intentionally a lot of the times, or what they'll try and do to their opponent, whereby rotating a wall or putting it on top of them, it'll phase, and the wall, even though it appearing to build, will actually be tinted yellow, which means bullets will still pass through it. That's because if a player is occupying the space, the build won't fully complete. That's to avoid players being thrown all over the place in different types of scenarios. But it's just something in those situations, it's like, oh, well, how did he shoot him through that ramp? Well, he was standing in that ramp, so that ramp wasn't actually quite there.
That happens in moments of desperation. Right now, Jab is in a very similar one. He gets taken down. Roller, once again, we've been tuning in with him all day. Using yellowed ramps as well. Mostly, though, it's this SMG that's been the operating factor for this man's game plan for every single elimination he's kind of got from box to box. Doesn't matter the color. We started with gray, now it's blue. We talked about how dangerous this one can be, the highest damage output, since those purple and yellow ones are not in the game at the moment. Roller still, though, looking to use this RPG, not even to connect, but just put pressure down. Make this individual's players' builds run out.
Which is particularly effective when you are over the water, forcing him to go back over the land, because if you break out that structure and catch him out, it's going to cost that many more materials to connect. And honestly, as you saw the first elim, if you are able to drop somebody in the water, it's just so disorientating and easy to pick them off. Just trying to deal with the swimming and shooting in the same aspect. There are very, very few players who will do that, honestly, at a competent level that we've seen before. But right now we see another player able to come over here and Roller getting backed off a little bit. I think that's a smart decision, especially considering he's down to only 15 builds. He desperately has to find one of these players and resolve this quickly. But even then, the player he's been chasing has also been burning through his materials, so there's no real promise he's going to get anything out of this.
And the way this other player is moving as well, I think it's Kadrent. He's actually looking like he has no more builds left. I thought the RPG hit over there, but it was the tactical shotgun from Roller. I think one of the first times we saw him actually shoot this one in this specific fight. Now Kadrent is down to his final metal builds, dodging another RPG. Roller uses the classic SMG tactic to take him out. baited fully in, but you're right. That was a lot of rockets used for this. He gets about half of them back, up to 6 from, I think, the 10 or 12 that he started with. And at the same time, a lot of his builds are no longer here. He's only down to the basic 50-50-50 you get from a Siphon. He's going to have to farm up again or hop into another box.
And again, don't forget, Roller was one of the players who qualified from the console and mobile track. He placed 4th yesterday with 163 points, so a really successful day. And he's honestly set himself up for success here, getting kind of those win conditions put together. Has the rocket launcher to break through the builds, has that legendary pump to immediately follow it up with kind of that pump shot that you see that controller players super favor right after they're able to hit kind of that rocket launcher combo, and then the SMG to really kind of follow up and apply pressure. The only thing we've noticed is there's been a trend a little bit more for players to rock 4 weapons if they're playing a little bit more aggressively, which I'm not necessarily sure is correct, because if you're playing that much more aggressively, I feel like you should have more utility. However, it hasn't necessarily been punishing a lot of these players. We saw it over in EU, some of the double snipes come out. We've seen a lot of harpoon gameplay, so that's kind of like mixed utility and a weapon going through. Right now, Collazo opting to hold on to a fishing rod relatively later in the game than generally we'll see, but so far making worth at least finding 1 slurp fish from this fishing hole. Can he get another? That'd be pretty lucky. I think the statistical odds of that are low, but I think he'll take a flopper and a slurp fish for his trouble. 100 effective HP, and honestly, gonna take his fishing rod too, saying, hey, maybe I'll get another shot.
I mean, it's all about options with those big 4 weapon loadouts, and it's like you can basically do the combos of the heavy sniper rocket launcher. You can do a lot with the SMG as well in tandem with the AR or pump, whatever 3 things you're rocking with the complements of a big explosive weapon. It makes you just a highly offensive character on the map. That being said, you're right. When you do get tapped a little bit, the defensive options aren't there, but usually people with full weapons have a huge boost in power. Right now, Fiber gets taken out. And at the same time, Collazo, who's on the brink of actually qualifying today, he needs this game basically to go very well. He's about, I believe, 20 to 30 points away. Day 1, he finished with about 76. Right now, he has 65 qualifications, looking at about 180. He needs every single elimination here, and at the same time, needs to survive. Has the floppers to do so, has fish for them, and at the same time, got them off of bodies, but it's Roller who he's up against, who's using that RPG tactic once again. Can Collazo survive? No! He gets taken out in what could have been his last game of the night over here, depending on how his day was going. And Roller is not only trying to get towards first place overall in NA East, he's taking out big players from that top 80 in Grand Finals.
Roller is just rolling right now. He's playing incredibly well, sitting on over 320 combined scores so far between yesterday and today, so really pressing kind of towards that top spot. And honestly, he's looking relatively impressive while he's doing it. Some misplays there on Collazo's part. You can't really fish for loot in the open like that. And especially even if it is just second circle, like, you are going to get abused in that regard. Doesn't matter how safe you think you are. It was unfortunate that Fiber did get picked off in that regard, but you can see everyone kind of playing safe already. We see pretty much everyone has made their way into the zone. We are over by kind of the Gorgeous Gorge, with Agency being kind of the top left side of the circle, so a lot of variable terrain and water that is going to be in play, but most of this map will have been looted, so largely we're going to see players trying to get refreshes, but Ronaldo immediately heavy snipes into the box. Luca is underneath the cone. Will he be able to reset it in time? Luca against Ronaldo, and Luca will win that one. The SMG in close quarters going to take that one out. So despite the heavy snipe, Ronaldo didn't come in on an angle that actually threatened Luca, because Luca had 2 layers in between. You wonder why. Well, why is that guy just sitting in a cone inside of his box? That's why. Because some player might recklessly come in and just try and push you, like Roller is doing right here. However, he got all the way through, and Uzi just gets ripped apart. Again, the blue SMG doing absolutely all of the work for Roller. No other damage from any other source, but the rocket launcher being able enough to put the pressure and then just continuing to hold forward, using that phase to get into the box.
He's feeling a little bit of SMG in his bones, and right now Roller's still going through, only using this RPG to test a lot of these people's prowesses and defense. It'll be beef now. Remember, this is not a lobby of people who are just trying and just getting started out in the game. Roller's treating this like his first game of an open qualifier. He has 7 eliminations thus far, taking out the likes of Collazo. Now Beef in the same box, going for it once again. The 4-gun loadout, and from medium range, a quick scope of the gold AR. He lands it once again. His mats are fully refreshed. We just tuned in with him having none, now full once again. And he'll move on to his next target. I am scared if I see this man's name and hear someone get eliminated beside me in the elimination feed.
8 eliminations so far. Pretty sure it's 7 from the SMG and then 1 from that burst AR right there. But some good control there coming around the corner and some good aggression as he's able to get around another player sitting inside the cone there. As we see agency still in play, we talk about kind of rotating through here in the trouble, and we're actually going to have agency in the dead center of the map. You can see in the bottom right-hand corner that white circle representing where the safe zone is. Almost a bunch of the players are already inside. You can still see kind of those henchmen triggering off. You really don't want to be caught out by one of those, because if they do burst fire you, it, at minimum is going to give away your position and cost you some of the builds. We've also seen a couple players get bursted down by that before. Sometimes they have just absolutely uncanny aim, but with so much space around here and so many natural builds and so much water, I mean, this is going to make for a weird late game in almost all situations. Problem going straight forward. Midas drum gun in a box. Again, just like the SMG, we've seen how these situations end. If you hear it on the other side, don't get aggressive with it. You should go the other direction. You don't want a box-to-box fight with this gun, but Problem does want to engage in that fight. Going to use the tac since he hasn't been able to reload that drum gun yet. Honestly, probably wants to back up and create a little bit of space to kind of reset, get his effective HP back up, and avoid getting sprayed there, because he knows if he's able to kind of get all of his resources back together, he'll have the advantage in most of these fights. With that being said, I'm not necessarily sure going down 75 HP, a drum gun will be an SMG in a close range fight. The drum gun is highly reliant on kind of going in a 100-100 situation and just doing more damage to your opponent. More often than not, yes, you can erase somebody, but we see Roller getting erased and chosen by the rest of the lobby here. Like, yes, you're doing good when you're pushed, but how good are your mechanics when you're on the edge of the zone? Sneaking off that mini was the difference, as another bullet was able to sneak through, but he's only down to 20 builds and 59 effective HP. Where's your 4-weapon loadout now?
I mean, hey, he's locked and loaded. There's the RPG coming through once again, although he only has 59 HP. Just the whisper of a tactical shotgun or anything can just take him out of this competition. He's still playing like he has a full 200, looking for the next shot to come through. Someone's right next to his box. It will be Crave that takes him out. Roller's reign is over. And that's a lot of weapons for Crave to choose, but I feel like the entire server can breathe a sigh of relief now. Everyone's just held up in their pyramids. Their edits are done with. They've taken out the nuisance in the lobby.
They're like, get this psycho away from me, please. We've seen him just running at people and rolling them over, quite literally. But again, we talk about it, kind of that high rate of fire and jumping into people's boxes. Again, yes, it is very effective, but it's most effective when you're at a health advantage, because you're kind of going in knowing that, like, hey, I can take this trade and I'm going to delete you before you delete me. We're kind of playing in that regard. Like, there's no reason Roller should have been sitting on that corner with an SMG out when he's at 59 HP. You should 100% of the time, you have a legendary pump that can easily 200 pump that person who checked into your right hand.
Easily.
Why do you have an SMG out there? You can't just be reliant on it because it works in that regard, especially against these top players. We saw it happen over in EU as well, how once you get to the very cream of the crop, yes, you can only be so aggressive, but those who are very mechanically gifted, who can play offensive, who can play defensive, who can rotate correctly and make the safe choices, are consistently going to be at the top, be in the top 5 and be in the top 10. Yes, you can monkey your way in forward and continue going through, but that's only going to get you so far from what we've seen. However, the tides may be changing, as that strategy has been getting more and more kind of limelight recently.
Yeah, I mean, the safe options aren't always there. Sometimes you have to take a few risks, get dirty into a box, and get close and personal with people. Take shots right now, though. Color does play with the safe options. Likes to have metal bases put over, gets into a position to actually take someone out who's trying to move over. His first elimination of that match. Trunks and Lupien, though, do not want to give this one away for free. They know that there's big loot now available. At the same time, it might just be too late to have a say on it. Crave moves forward from getting Roller eliminated from the competition. Tilt's going to be right beside him as we get super central on the map. The zone is going to be the almost most perfect zone in Fortnite, all the way towards the agency. And we've seen this one roll out today, a little bit earlier. What happens here is that there's a little bit more people alive overall when it comes to what type of game you're playing. More people can make this rotation easier from all corners of the map. But at the same time, when it comes to having these huge land masses separated by these no man's lands of water, it gets really difficult to traverse this terrain, especially right now, where this half and half zone is on the bottom right corner of your screen. Getting over there when the majority of players are on the agency and finding a base, you'll notice that a bunch of people will be just on that land island, and no one will try to get to the water. Because of that, it'll be highly congested, and it'll result in so many more box fights. Yes, there's only 35 people alive in the server. It'll still feel like it's a very stacked endgame just because of how the zone is developing right now.
You say only 35, man. Yeah, like 35
just
and
let
half and
someone
half
run
out,
over
but
you.
with this much water
Dude.
and play and how many people are going to have to rotate,
absolutely
I can
do
expect
nothing.
at least 10 people are going down in this rotation. Like, it's going to end up being stacked. And
I'm
honestly, I think
literally
this is a smart
surprised.
play, or it was a smart play from Steams to try and go a little early and establish himself, because if you are able to kind of get one of those low routes through the water, you can kind of like sneak off, which I think is what we're going to see Tilt
Looking
try
for
and
that
do.
community
He's actually
pad.
looking to try and recycle a launch pad, but unfortunately nobody's going to use one, so now going to dive
Someone
right
did.
onto the
No
water.
way.
And
But
the second
just
you
couldn't
leave
see.
those builds, you are completely stranded. You're not able to dive down in certain parts of that to connect. In some you can, but it's just that much more difficult. As you see everyone heading over to that little peninsula you were talking about on the northeast side of the agency here. You have Goosh.
I
6
see the
players
skin
have
that
gone down.
instantly,
Everyone else
like,
getting the rotation in.
dislike you.
So it's a little high on the estimate there, but
Dislike you.
not quite done yet. There's still a couple more players need
That's
to
the
finish the
sweetest
rotation. Going
skin at
through
the
Goosh has
moment for
good
me.
angle here.
The orders.
Trying to look to see if he can catch somebody with that epic burst, but not quite gonna find it, as we still have
What was the
Trunks,
winner of,
Tilt, Trashy,
32?
Color, Luca, Easy Rog, Grandma, Ved, Hapt, Bludge, all
Bludge.
kind of posted up, looking for their opportunity right
wasn't.
now to close out this game. As Shia, look at that zone. We're going
See, Nate
straight
Fields
back
also
over
in the
water.
game.
Oh boy.
No high ground this game.
And it's straight back to where people are familiar with. I think we saw Tilt make the swim just moments ago, but at the same time, no one's built coming over here. It's just been launch pads. People have just swam. There's nothing to have a foundation to hide behind to get to that point. At the same time, to put it into perspective, this game, I feel like, has some of the most people who are just on the brink of qualifying. Surviving just to the top 10, the top 15, the top 20 can prove to be so much for points that these guys need. You need to get to the top 80, which at the end of the day might be close to 190 points. A bunch of these players at 170, Tilt included overall from day 1 and day 2. With just a few games left, they look to make their move. Right now, Tilt once again staying behind, but this time
Just
it's proving
popping
really
off.
good for him, hitting the jackpot on the Trashy there. He's going to straight go forward once again on the same layer, now switch over
It's like the worst
to hopefully
zone
a safer
in
one,
all
but he's
the
getting
water.
closer and closer to height. Because of this, he might see a few problems.
use much more
Chooses to
builds.
delve down, get a little bit sneaky. Use other players' builds, but he's so close. Lands another shot onto, I believe, Grandma, who gets taken out. And Tilt is on a rampage all the way up. 10 more points off of that sequence. He's looking for so much more.
And it's a really good push and some nice tunneling coming out from the controller player along the side. Tilt is actually one of probably the more mechanical builders. We saw him being the dedicated tunneler kind of for his controller group during the trios and during the duos competitions back in the day. You can see now we're rotating again completely back over water now towards the agency.
This is
However,
like
there are some
cheated
older builds here now as we
plan
have our
or
top
something.
17 closing in for top
I see
15
these
for that next
cheated
placement threshold.
plans. What?
FTI picks up Ved. I believe Nate Hill is
And-
still in the lobby. We saw Calc over on the side as well here. The question is right now, what can Goosh do as Assault picks up Trunks, and we have our top 15. You can see Goosh is ahead of the rest of the lobby right now and just trying to find an angle. Good 49 tag there. Follows it up with a quick little burst and continuing to just tunnel out ahead. Looks like he's finally hit the zone as Assault picks up his lucky and we're into the end game.
Now in the final moments, Goosh looks to get all his inventory up in order, but at the same time, people are jumping into his box. Can he defend? Yes, he can. It's TFTI, who we saw at Lazy Lake this time, completely inactive, out of the competition. Goosh picks him up with that tactical shotgun spray back-to-back. Now he gets another big weapon into his inventory. It's a heavy sniper, doesn't need to use it though. It's Nate Hill that gets caught once again, and it's the third person coming through. 3 wishes. Can he get some more? Not possible. Good defense there from Goosh backing up, actually going through his own build. This entire tarp is his. Moving in this mid-ground layer, still surviving, has 4 floppers to play in the storm. 8th zone right now. Uses 1 already. Mini's back up. This is his moment. 5 people left alive. Goosh has to pop one flopper. Moves through once again, methodically. Going from box to box, layer to layer as Tabs G controls this entire lobby, moving completely over the water, bouncing back over to old builds as well here, Sundown. Yubel's in trouble. He's running so low on resources.
Incredibly low, down to just 5 builds and moving back over water again, and we're still going over all the water. We talked about kind of what it does, but a really heads-up play with the Harpoon Gun to give himself an additional 35 builds there, picking it up from the eliminated body, giving him room to work around to the front side of the storm, and then finding some more additional. Was that a flopper he was able to grab? No, just I just thought there was some on the corner there.
Tabs.
See Tragics on the high ground, but Tabs took it away. Was that a grapple? But he gets knocked down. However, the fall damage wasn't enough. Goosh looking to reposition. He takes the high ground away from him. Yubo uncontested on the low ground. Does have the bandages if this goes all the way. We are on the absolute final circle, and Tabs gets the quick edit on the floor, caught in the water. We talked about it. You don't want to be the fish in the barrel, which is what Yubo made him there. And if this goes to a heal off, Yubo should have the advantage. I don't think Goosh has any floppers, so it's on Goosh to make the aggressive play here. Yubo is the one with the bandages, and he's just going to try and ride this one out.
It's Yubel, the low ground submersive survivor, who's playing this water zone, his resources running low, versus Goosh, the high ground warrior, who overtook it from Tabs earlier on and held it the whole way through. Now everyone playing that heal game. Is Yubel bandaging in the storm? Yes, he is. Popping those bandages, brother, but it's not enough. It'll be Goosh on height, who survives the most treacherous zone in the game, and Yubel could not out-heal it still. A lot of points accrued by many people in this game. It'll be Goosh with the most placement and with that victory royale.
Yeah, and well played there to just kind of ride it out, making sure he was able to close it. We've talked about just how efficient high ground is once you have it in the later game, and despite the bandages coming through not being enough to hold on, Goosh coming out the winner.
Unfortunate there. If Yubel had a better loadout, things might have turned out a little bit differently. Gentlemen, we've got one game left, and the standings have been shaken up quite a bit. We see a lot of these players going head-to-head. So many have been almost crawling over each other, being forced in and out of that top 80. I mean, with one game left, what do these guys need to do? There has to be something for these players, right? People like Yubel was 36th, excuse me, yesterday. So maybe not the best, but what do they need to do?
Okay, the last thing we saw was endgame, and our focus is probably on that endgame and how to survive. Yeah, Yubel needed a better loadout, but the thing that we saw the most in that game were box dives, especially from Roller. It's all about defense right now. That's what people need to work on the most in this final game. They need to be able to survive the onslaught of people just coming in box after box with their SMGs, just trying to take out as many people as fast as possible. You need to hold for as long as you can against some of the hardest weapons in the game.
What do you think, Sundown? I mean, there's got to be something, right? I mean, at this point, I know a lot of players are going to be looking to come back and run it back in the reboot round, but for those that are right there on the edge, we're talking 81 through 85th, they've got to have something on their minds, right?
I mean, it's all about just how many points can you get in that last game. Yes, you want to be trying to push for eliminations, but as we talked about before, you get so many more opportunities the later you survive into a game to maybe get those pickoffs and make those easy 4 points, in addition to kind of the late in placement points that will end up coming through. I think if you're kind of one of those veteran players who's right on the outside looking in, buckle down. It's okay. You know that there's going to be tons of psychos out there who are desperately looking for every elimination and looking to grief other people's games, looking to just go flying because it's the last one.
If you want to get
the time where
you need to go full out from the beginning, because you can't control the
make sure you get everything you need, head to the center zone, and execute on your game plan. Get the people you need, get the things that set you up for a win condition, whether that's getting an SMG and a pump and making sure you can push somebody's wall when it matters, or it's getting 4 floppers and 2 slurpfish and making sure you can get to the back. Just stick to a game plan and don't be forced off of it because of what somebody else is doing.
Go big.
Well, let's see if that works out for a lot of these players as we get into the final game out of NA East. Take us in, Shy. Take us in, Sundown.
Let's go.
I mean, it will be Kanata dropping in. We haven't seen too much from him today, except a few cool early, late, mid glimpses of how his fights are going. This time, though, he'll have 2 shotguns to boot. Not exactly what he's going to be looking for. I would say, yeah, pick up the tack. Use that as the primary roller in this fight, so he's trying to get right through. But right now, a few speed bumps in the road. The last game of NA East, and he doesn't have the speed to take it in this box fight just yet, Sundown.
No, and I mean, this goes from being really scary, or like right off the bat, you think, okay, I have the tack, I can go, let's do this. But then all of a sudden, you see that the other person drank a couple shields, and you only have 4 builds, and now you're like, do I really want this fight? Can I win this fight? He takes first damage, gets 40 back over onto him, but it doesn't break the shield, so you know he had at least 10 more health there. Like,
and he pops another one.
You're at a deficit here. You kind of want to disengage the situation, but something about landing on one of these scavenger routes and having another player closing in as you see that dark purple or dark pink, whatever color that is on the map, coming over here. You don't really always get all the resources you want, and you kind of have to press forward. But he makes it happen. Casca going down right away, but can he cover himself? As Pulse Fishy trying to get in immediately onto Canada, knowing that he was low, hearing the fight off of the start. But Canada having the refresher of mats might be the big difference. They're immediately going up to 8. Pulse Fishy trying to force through the wall, and this is huge if Canada's going to be able to take down an early 1v2. 78 tag comes through, evens up the HP a little bit, but he has to be careful here, Shy.
Yeah, he doesn't have that much to kind of hold off with so far. Now just half a mag left in that shotgun, but it's right there. Pulse goes down. He picks it right up. 2 eliminations total for Canada now to roll in with the competition.
100 HP.
A lot of materials that are yet to be acquired as well. And he has the time in this early game. Have a big upgrade for loot as well, just for the end game. That purple tack that a lot of people farm to upgrade to. This time it'll be right into his inventory. He'll control the northern side of the map next to the lighthouse as we move over towards a little bit more central. Frenzy Farms in the hideout next to it. It'll be Kaz, Zypha, Mero, and Kotal looking to find ways in, and oh no, Kaz, who I saw teetering near that top 80 spot, taken out for just right now. Miro will look to third party even more, landing 100 damage past what he should have, I think. Kotal should have known exactly where he was after we saw Kaz get taken out. He's now knocking on the door at the same time. Has so many switches available in terms of which guns he wants to use. The ammo count, though, is not there. The tactical shotgun, just 9 shots left, and it's Zypha who kind of plays around with the amount of edits that he has, tricking Miro, but the one thing that you can't mess up is this man's aim. Hitting shot after shot, both with the AR and the tactical shotgun. Now he has some good ammo to play off of, and he's taken out 3 people in a small span of just 15 seconds. He's pushing himself way up there for points, Sundown.
Yeah, this is very well done. Pushing him up to almost nearly 180 points on the day. So nice little triple dink going through there. And that's basically going to guarantee him up into that top 80 overall. He was 89th yesterday at 91 points. So kind of pushing himself forward there today. So really good job making sure you show up on day 2. You have Donnie, who's on Twitch. Make sure you go check him out here if he's able to win this fight. If he doesn't, then don't check him out. That's how it works. Clutch or kick.
That is how it works sometimes. Clutch or kick right here. Donnie. Okay, that's a big clutch. A 2-topper on the clicks.
Well.
Yeah.
Into Donnie.
That's going to be huge. And now Bludge. He's going to try as well to have a say in things. But if I'm Donnie, or if I'm Bludge, looking at the elimination feed and exactly what Donnie just did, I'm going to stay far away. Check out his stream way later to see exactly how this man plays. Because that was quick thinking and fast shooting.
Yeah, but unfortunately for Donnie, he was only sitting on 21 points yesterday, putting him up to 82 points so far for the day. So unless he's able to get kind of a 30 bomb plus elimination game here, which I don't see happening with only 58 players left in the lobby, his day is effectively over. So more than anything, he's just playing spoiler and kind of getting some additional warm-ups in before that reboot round on Friday.
I mean, he also has the opportunity to affect other people's games as well, playing for practice. Right now, Clicks got taken out in possibly what could be the last game of the competition for his night. Curious to see exactly where he is overall. And if we just watch an individual get stopped from qualifying in week number 2, thrown to the reboot. Donnie, though, picks up Bludge in quick fashion, elevating himself. But yes, at the same time, remember, not close to qualification just yet. Everything he does is purely invasive.
Yeah, and we've talked about this kind of before with now queues closed 15 minutes ago. These are the final games, kind of how players are playing for a different mix of things towards the end. There are some who are very right on the edge. There are some who are trying to push kind of for that very top spot because there is still prize money on the line every single time, wanting to go through and secure that. And you also have players who are playing literally for their tournament lives, trying to get right in. And then there's some who know they're already out, have the games going through, and they're just trying to get as many reps in against better players as possible and against these top players, trying to prepare themselves for the reboot round. And it's all these players kind of battling that out to still try and get the end result of what can I accomplish? Can I win this game? Can I get all the points I need? And each one having a different goal can make some of these interactions really weird at times.
Yeah, I mean, it'll always be different play styles, not only, but your right attitudes from box to box. Right now, Mero a little bit too happy on the trigger finger right there. Hornet will be right behind him watching that happen. Adonis flying straight through in the mid game. As everyone's games are now building forward to their bases, to where they're going to be in temporary spots to look for a little bit more action. As we mentioned before, Mero is obviously fully qualified just off of today's performance. 91 on day one, though, and might be a reason as to why he's so successful today. Big shots, and Acosta 100% celebrate on the defensive spectrum of that fight there and taking things out in just 4 bullets.
Stay out of my box.
Yep, that AR plus tac combo in the close range, making sure he hit there. Some nice crouching back and forth, but in all honesty, that was only ever going to end one way. We've talked about just kind of the spray battles in close range, how kind of know which way they're going to go depending on the player. You can see Roller right now doing something atypical of Roller. Normally, we have seen him just absolutely flying at everyone remotely close to him. We've seen Lazy Lake be a real kind of hotbed of action, and people really been going at it. But now everyone's just kind of posted up and they're chilling. We got one player over by Gorge, got one over by the old infantry camp, like another player kind of up top over by that house, another over in the lake, but not a whole lot of action going on. Roller was 4th yesterday, sitting at 170 plus points today as well, so a good combination that's going to toss him up there. Might get him enough to honestly end up being top 10. You have Crave and Ubel holding out just on the other side of the storm here. See Crave trying to tunnel his way on in, doesn't want to take any ticks. Ubel does have that med kit in case it's needed, but now you're just stuck all the way at the edge of the zone, so I don't really see either one of these players, unless they have a launch pad, kind of leaving this situation until this fight resolves.
And Ubel, old name also Frat, not sure if it's going to be a rebrand or just a shout out to a friend or a show he likes. He'll be looking to move forward, land a few shots. It's going to be a grief fight all the way back here towards the storm. Every elimination at the moment matters, though. You got to consider those tiebreakers at the end of the day. He's running out of materials here. He's looking to see if he can win out this fight. The Pyramid there trapped this player. 2 shots, one small, one huge, but having 200 HP effectively overall with those shields, Crave will once again stop someone's journey prematurely next to the storm, and he'll get to move out fully healed up again. It'll be Scope now who's joined in to the boxes of both Hornet. I think there was Roller or Kanata who was here earlier on, but not anymore. Scope will look to mine out just a little bit. His materials are looking really good. His position is not too bad either, but as Sundown mentioned, you have to be very careful as to who you box yourself beside. A lot of people have different agendas at this point in the game. You want to make sure, even if you try to move and play around those agendas, there's other people who are baiting that tactic. AJ will be the one in this situation to land a big beam on the Scoped. But he's only looking for damage right now and only really looking to third party. He won't actually act off of that big damage. And Scoped will be right back to square one with full HP. A few brick materials lost. AJ could clap straight back again, though.
Yeah, but I doubt AJ's going to peek the same angle again. Generally, once you assume you hit somebody with a sniper once, you're going to assume, hey, that guy's not going to peek the exact same angle or take that exact same path again because I already hit him there. He's probably going to go somewhere else. Scope's like, haha, joke's on you. I'm going to take the exact same path over again, and I'll be totally fine. As we hop on board here with Polarize, who has all the shields he could possibly want. Nice little dink immediately coming out there from that epic burst rifle, hit for the 64 shot. But you see everyone just kind of crowding in around Lazy Lake since we did pull a relatively central zone again. So 52 players remaining. Not the densest of lobbies, but still a solid amount of people in here. Again, we've talked about it. Queues have been closed. This is the final game we're going to cover on NA East. And Polarize is another player who we need to keep an eye on. He was 203rd yesterday with 53 points. However, today, more than doubling that at 118 right now. And honestly, it's going to take, again, probably another 4 elims or a top 5 finish in order for him to qualify here. Otherwise, a combination of the two could end up doing it, but he's really going to need some kind of performance to push himself up there. And as we say it, Donnie, all right, clutch your kick. You guys, you can take the follows away from him. Good try, Donnie, because Polarize has sent you back to the lobby there.
That we'll be seeing, and Polarize might be able to see that top 80 as well today. And we've talked about almost every single person in terms of their point update at this point, at this match, the last one of NA East. Everyone's just so close to qualifying. I felt like it'll actually come down to that last point, that last placement, even maybe just hitting top 75 or top 50. One person needs to go down right now for points to get handed out to the rest of the lobby, and no one's budging. Not even Justice, who's all the way in the Storm. He could actually make this point ripple for everyone else with this individual who's all the way at the backside of Storm. But he'll choose to play it slightly safer. It'll be Sharpshooter. He'll be getting a taste of his own medicine right here, getting shot up straight towards the body. A little bit of damage taken, not too many builds left, just 4 pieces now, but he reigns so strong with shots. Justice, not sure if he even needed to take that peek, maybe a little bit of a throw. You were talking about people who needed eliminations. He did the damage. He could have just ran out and had an easy pickup on 4 points. Now his competition's kind of over.
I mean, it's not kind of over. It's definitely over. I mean, see, in the reboot round, man, there's no way you qualified, especially if that was what was going on. With that being said, that, like, yeah, you had the tags on him. Like, yes, Sharp has a med kit, but even then you still have positioning. Go to the zone and wait. Like, the worst thing that happens then is he goes away and you lose an opportunity to get the elimination, but odds are good. He still has to run on a straight path from you unless he has multiple med kits, as Luca tries to put some distance between himself and the Psycho Miro, who's continuing to just kind of fly at people, making sure that he's not, like, overextending away from his space, but if somebody comes close to his space, he's like, hey, nope, watch out. He's like the angry dog at the fence. He's not going to leave the fenced-in area, but, like, if you come remotely close, he's like, hey, no, back off. I will fight you at this wall. Stop it. This is my wall. Go away.
Sometimes they do go past that fence, though. We've seen Roller do it time and time again. Miro might get into that attitude as well because this is the last game. He has so many points already. He has the opportunity to just go crazy, but we talked about the way Commandment handles these lobbies, these positions when it comes to where he is overall in the leaderboard. I think Miro is kind of the same way. As I say that, he hops straight into a box, goes for big beams. This is very smart, though, but also just kind of ironic in terms of what we were talking about before. It's Paul who actually gets taken out. I'm not sure if he was close to qual range. I'm not sure if he was confirmed in there, but if he wasn't, that's it. Reboot round is where he'll have to go after this, and right now Miro chooses who gets to live and who gets to say goodbye in this last game of North America East.
And the only reason I would say that push was actually intelligent was because right before we caught cameras, you saw Paul get ripped apart. So he knew that player had freshly built builds between him and was also desperately trying to put on shields. So pushing through the heavy sniper, good attempt to capitalize there. However, not necessarily like the best of choice to chase all the way down and through and put yourself in a horrible position, but with enough builds and kind of that little bonus of the grid being like pretty much right at ground level there, you're actually able to put a floor and a ramp up that's really hard to shoot out unless you had a specific angle. So able to put up enough space and get his shields back up as we hop on board here with Origins, who's sitting at 64 points in the day.
Yeah, Origins has kind of expended his overall loadout as well in terms of ammunition. He has some of the best weapons in the game except for that pump shotgun, but not that much ammo to use with them. The heavy sniper will have about 11 to 15 shots. The follow-up, though, can only really be done once. So as he surveys the ground, we'll tune in with Crumble and Scoped, who are sharing a base, obviously not voluntarily at the moment because they want to be able to control this spot. It's temporary, though. They're going to want to move away to where the zone actually is. Looks like it's going to pull all the way towards the right side. And, yep, on all the options we could have had, it's going to be the only place in the zone that had a river. intertwined throughout all of it, almost perfectly fitting in there.
Of course, but luckily enough for this river in particular, it's low enough where you can just kind of ramp off of the bottom. It's not some of those deeper water sectors that completely negate you from being able to build in there. As we see Scoped just kind of push right on into AJ's box, getting into that phased floor and not really giving him an option to disengage. Whichever direction it goes, Scoped would have been able to follow. And now we'll see what he decides to rock with. Will he go with the heavy flopper loadout? Will he decide to kind of keep that heavy sniper so he can keep kind of a little bit of the offensive agency? It seems like that's going to be the choice right now.
Regardless of the options, which he has a lot of, he's still not in zone just yet, so he might not have a chance to keep everything. In terms of shields as well, he only has about an extra 50 to use with 2 minis. Overbuilding in mats, you might wonder why this isn't that smart, but he has about 2 big boxes of individuals who've left their loot behind. Assault, though, sees this as an opportunity, Snake as well, to move in because his entire tarp will not have anyone threatening behind. They understand that the individual who's making it is going to go back to collect those materials. It'll be offline for just a moment, but when Scoped comes back, that's when he'll look for more people to take. He's already taken out the surveillance of that entire region. AJ, as we tune in with him. Right now, Miro, who's kind of surveying the entire province of this 4th zone that's locking in, is going to look for shots. The heavy sniper shot out there kind of just misses narrowly. Miro at 5 might get his 6th one box to box right here. We've seen him be smart and go for these long-range picks and shots, but at the end of the day, it's always a box he dives into. And Vedon Legacy is slightly above him. Vexy's right there, though, next to his box. He might choose to go straight for him. He has the option of looking downwards as well. A very interesting place he's actually in. He could just drop here with the heavy sniper. He's going to try to. And surprise, surprise, the combination is there. You can't even jump over him. He'll still be able to track you. Miro, with 6 total eliminations, now, though, focused and chosen by the whole lobby. The tricky situation to get out of, but his old base is so close, so nearby that he can hop straight right into it. It's a whole metal, basically starship in the middle of this map, and everyone's just kind of hold on to it because no one wants to be central zone where the river is and be subject to playing in water.
Yeah, though it will highly depend on where that 5th zone, the half-in, half-out pulls. That's going to dictate a lot of the action. You can see, as we talk about that, it does pull due south. You see Scope trying to line up a shot there, but not quite going to be able to hit that one there. A little difficult going through, not able to line it up, but will have an edit angle if he decides to try and take some additional shots over on the side. You can see him setting it up so he can kind of shoot down and shoot at anybody who might launch without really getting poked at from the side. So really good job covering himself there. Hit some white tags, but unfortunately the Elim is going to go over to Assault Degen instead, trying to line up another snipe shot, but nobody necessarily overexposing as pretty much everyone has now rotated into the circle.
And Scoped in this position right now is basically all in. If he ever takes damage, only Siphon can really save him. Yes, he can go all the way down for those floppers, but I'm pretty sure he wants to save those for the storm. Save those for later on. Gets a big elimination. That's so important because he has, as I mentioned, no shields. Now he'll be at that full effective, almost 200 HP. The movement now, when this half-in, half-out zone locks in, will be a lot more safer for him, at least. We'll have a little bit of insurance in his HP pool. We tune into Astonish, who has a lot of extra shields, possibly stolen away from Scoped at the moment. And right now as well, the Grappler Sky's loot in play. He'll be using it to be troublesome to height. The question is, when will he start to let the server know that he has it available? Because as soon as one person hears it, the way they play just changes.
Yeah, it's a really, really, really obvious and loud audio cue as well. Like, the entire lobby will focus towards it. You'll be aware of where you are. Additionally, too, he's so central in the zone right now that he kind of has to use it. And if you're going to use it, you either need to go very early or very late. He's opting to go late, as we do see Storm Surge does begin to tick over. Some good shots coming through here. Once one more player goes down, Storm Surge will no longer be a threat. You can see him got the Siphon going through, going to use a high regular launch pad to go far side of zone. As Storm Surge does turn off there. Snake picks up Crumbler, and Astonish gets over with a nice little bunny hop to maintain momentum, and now just going to tunnel on in to some old builds as we get a look at the rest of the lobby, desperately trying to rotate through these old builds right now.
And there's a huge disparity where actual height is and everyone else who's playing towards that low ground. Spark will be uncontested and using this situation, this launch pad, to move throughout, and Snake, who was in the storm, gets picked off mid-air just due to the damage that Storm is putting down. Spark obviously landed a shot on him before. Nanolite alive though, taken out, but then takes out Zum, who was also all the way in Storm. Right now, huge Storm fights going on, although on mid-ground, Spark is still holding his ground, now has the agency loot, minus his drum gun, to use 3 eliminations, can easily double if he plays box to box to box. He's wondering when to go in, making minimal noise. The zone now on him. He's trying to identify opponent's patterns. No one around him or above, just at the moment, actively searching to shoot his body. He has a very good prime position here to start raining down shots. There's the first barrage that goes down. Hornet gets taken out, then close range. He has an SMG to fall back on as well. The automatic weapons in Spark's inventory have no off time, no limit whatsoever. He can just choose to shoot whoever he wants, close and far, and right now he's almost at 6 elims and in the top 10 in the end game.
And it should have been enough to push him over into qualification. He had 77 points yesterday, was sitting at 123rd, but now with 5 elims and into the top 10, adding up to just over 200 points now between these 2 days, up to 207, and making the drum gun go burr, pushing into the box over and over again. You talked about the high rate of fire weapons getting on your wall. Oof. You don't want it to happen to you. Schmacked gets absolutely smacked there as Crave, Starving Aiden, and Clarity G are on the low ground. Spark trying to use the grappler now to get up onto the high ground to challenge Bully, but Origins is just hanging out underneath as we begin to move slightly up this hill, so things are going to get a little awkward for those of us on the low ground.
And the Spark gets that grappler. He finds the ignition to drive straight to high ground. Clarity, though, getting very muddy all the way here on low. Doesn't have many materials to kind of push himself up past the situation, but does have the ammunition and power ready to block off Starving Aiden down at the low ground. Just 8 HP, does not have the juice to make it through the last portion of this game. And now it's a 1v1. Spark G, who took height with 2 Mythic POIs worth of loot, versus Origins, who's lost in a big labyrinth of builds down below. Spark with 6 chooses to just stay back, shield up, and look for the 7th and the win. And right now, it's ominous. He's not sure where this player can be. He knows that the grappler won't be in play because it's in his inventory. There's metal builds below him, so it's going to be very hard to pierce through and look for shots. He finds natural low, though. Knows exactly where a player could go if he's in the situation. Finds him finally. Box to box, though. Tracks him 180 degrees. It's not enough. Around the world, his aim cannot reign true. It's Origins, who from the beginning lasts to the very end. A huge celebration from him there to take the final win out of NA East. Such a good game by Spark, though. So many developments in that game, Zeke. I can't wait to see exactly how this region broke down.
Look for this region. It should be pretty awesome.
That's it. The final game out of NA East. Gentlemen, we got to talk about it. The standings. Who are the people that made it through the top 80 that we're looking to push on through to grand finals? Now, of course, a massive congratulations there to Origins. He was 282nd yesterday, but still showing it doesn't matter. I can still make something happen. The ultimate question is, was it enough? Let's take a look at the standings and see who holds that number 1 spot. And it looks like Roller is actually in first place there. Now, keep in mind, that is a tiebreaker, because the only difference there is the eliminations at 43. But still, there are so many people there at the top. Stretch, Scoped, we've seen them all day. Illis, Mara was in that last game. Light, excuse me, 2XE. There's so many. Also, the Victorials actually are the tiebreaker as well. Gentlemen, we got to go through the standings. We got to take a look at the list. Shy, what do you think?
I mean, I was going to mention, it's that Victory Royale that we saw just play out. Roller, all the way from aggression, will stay at the top, still in the top 10. Stretch is up there. Scoped is there too. People who fell downwards, though, Commandment, all the way 17th place, was trying to stay in the middle of the pack, but just rose up slightly above everyone else. Durant, who we saw in the top 10, now down to 11. Still, 2 Victory Royales on Goosh, who had that top 20 spot. He will qualify for the grand finals. So many more names here, though, Sundown.
Unknown.
Yeah, we got God Pump on the last page as well. That's Saf being able to represent. You have Unknown Army, Astonished, Legendian, Young Calc, Assault all up there, as well as Outcast Hunt, Sharpshooter, Angelti, Roat, Stowe, Acorn, Zate, Niddle, Nico, Icy IV, and Coop. So a lot of names who we've seen pretty much all over the Cash Cups on NA East. Pretty familiar there. Yubo, Canada, Shaz, Mickey, Storm, Bully, Ved, Booga, 48 sneaking on in there with 22 elims. Doxy, Fishy, and Plague rounding out the top 50.
And right now, as we move our way more towards that 80th slot, just look at the points overall. Jack, Bizzle, AV, Keox, Weigel, Ghoul, Zoom, who we've seen got taken out a few times, to survive till 60th place. It's about a 5-point differential just in those 10 places. And as we get lower and lower, it's even closer right now. 4 points from 191 to 187 down to 70th. Avery, Assault, Eclipse, Newell, who we saw, Tilt, who I thought couldn't have made it, finally did all the way to his very end, all the way down to 80th. It'll be Bank at 184 points, who makes it through. At the same time, remember, we haven't had all those tiebreakers be broken down for these overall standings. We'll have an official list out on Twitter at FN Competitive to see exactly who is up top. But Arab, Hornet, Showbeans, Polarized, Leo, some people who were, you know, especially Arab, said that, hey, you got carried through squads right now here as a solo player, rising, qualified for grand finals. Shoutouts to him and many others. I've seen a lot of cool things here today, boys, and it's been insane in aggressiveness and smarts all the way from early to end game.
Yeah, I gotta say there, big shout out to Arab, man. He does great on his VOD review series. He's been putting out a ton of content. He jokes about being a content creator, but for how seriously he takes the game, for how much he applies himself, big props to be making the grand finals in there and squeaking on in. And everyone on NA East, that's a lot of people who've been putting in a ton of work on their solo gameplay. And those have been straight grinders. Also, shout outs to Waz for making it up there, kind of the open hero who we saw going through, putting up a great performance, finishing up in the top 30.
That's right. Well, gentlemen, that's it. That is week number 2 in the books. Now, of course, Fortnite fam, do not forget, next week we are back with the reboot round. With only 20 spots on the line, who will push on through to grand finals? Please don't forget to check out FN Competitive and give these guys a follow over on Twitter. Till next time, Fortnite fam, we'll see you guys on the Battle Bus.
GG boys, that was fun. Hope you guys enjoyed it.